We are live. This is the CHRILLCAST Live. I'm your host, Chris from the CHRILLCAST, and I've got some really cool gaming dads here. I'm not the only dad on the set for once in a while here. So why don't all the dads that game next to me introduce themselves?
I guess I'm up, right?
That's next? You.
Okay, yeah, I'm Chad, the gaming dad, and I don't know. I've been doing videos for a few years. I think it's probably getting close to 6 now. So just kind of been messing around and probably going to focus more retro as we go, since I'm totally not getting one of the new consoles. So we're going backwards instead in televisions and all these other things over here. So that's pretty cool. Nice. But I play everything. It's kind of like my musical taste. If it sounds good, I like to listen to it. If it's fun to play, I like to play it. So sort of like that.
And I just have to say, I might have something to reinforce you're not going more modern than you already are. The PS4 has got some interesting failures that a lot of new subscribers to my channel have noticed based on some of my recent coverage. Hopefully nobody in this chat has lost their PS4 to the 9.00 update, but it has been a big issue.
I was going to watch your video because I haven't done it. Like, I've got like a couple because I collect special editions of certain consoles, so I've got a bunch of PS4 Pros and regular PS4s, like the Vader edition, Destiny, God of War, Spider-Man one. And I was going to watch your video before I updated mine, so maybe I should update.
It does. Okay. The biggest advice I can give is, like, a lot of people are having this peripheral issue where if you have a bunch of peripherals connected to your PS4 during the update, it can cause issues because the new update is re-authenticating all of your hardware in the background. And Sony didn't exactly explain it, but it's because they removed the CMOS battery requirement. So because they did that, now they're like, okay, time to re-authenticate all of your hardware.
Does it brick it? I should just watch your video. I'm just going to watch your video.
In some cases, it can. I'm just giving you a fair warning. All right.
Well, that's fantastic.
It is. It's awesome. All right, Pete, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, I was going to ask Chad first. Chad, how many kids do you have?
I just have 2. And
just really?
Just 2. Yeah, I've stopped at 2. We're done. But my daughter is 11, and my son is going to be 8 at the end of the week. So I'm right in the middle of. I'm in the thick of it, man.
Tell me about it, dude.
You know.
Yeah. So I'm Pete from OEB Pete, or he's formerly Open Every Box, but yeah, and I'm a father of 2, a late father of 2. I didn't start in my 20s or 30s. I sowed some wild oats, but yeah, I've got a 5-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son. And yeah, I'm in the thick of it too, Chad. It's really thick.
Fair.
What up? I'm Alex. I'm from the channel DotSlashFrag. I'm like 1/7 of the channel. I have 3 children. I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 1.5-year-old.
Whoa.
Having a kid born last year was very interesting, to say the least.
I definitely agree with you on that.
But yeah, I've been gaming with my children pretty much since they were like 2.5 each. So like my daughter and my son have both been gaming since they're like 2.5. They've been playing some old retro games and some Switch stuff. They love it.
And if you want to find their channel, you can go to OEB Pete or ./frag, and you can find them pretty easily. And then Chad the Gaming Dad. I believe you have a weird custom URL that's not Chad the Gaming Dad.
Yeah, I called it Dad's Games when I first started the channel, but then a whole bunch of people had channels that were called that or similar to that, so I decided to just go with the name instead.
There you go. And then we got one more person that got out of order due to the rearrangement of the screen here, but it's Mr. Zeo down here.
That's right. I'm Zeo from Zeo Gaming. We talk about nerd news and occasionally play video games. I've got 3 of my own, 12, I think he's 12, 9, and 1 just turned 5 last week or the week before. So, and I've been gaming with them since they've been young, but only 1 seems to be a gamer so far. At least you count Farm Simulator as a game.
Well, my kids aren't gamers either, unless you include Fruit Ninja, because they play the Kinect Fruit Ninja on the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One. They love that, but that's about it. I've got 3 of my own as well, by the way. I had 1 last year during the pandemic, which was fun.
Your last one was born just at the start of the pandemic, right, Chris? Or was it in the midst of it? I can't remember.
It was in October of last year.
Oh yeah,
I know
okay,
this.
yeah, okay, yeah.
And
That's in the mix,
Alex
right?
down there knows that because they took over our podcast for the week after my daughter was born. So that was pretty nice of them to do.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
My son was born March 30th, for the record, which was like
Right at
everything
the-
hit
Yeah.
the fan. Yeah, and I was like, cool. This is a good time.
But I have 3 kids as well. I've got 2 sons and a daughter. And my
I don't
daughter's the
understand why you'd go past 2. I don't
You're
get it.
outnumbered. You're outnumbered.
I call those accidents.
Well, I mean,
youngest. In regards to planning things, there wasn't a lot of planning. Let's put it that way.
Wait, I think my wife and I looked at each other after 2. After like a year after the daughter was born, we looked at each other and we're like, nope. We're done. We're done.
So I got to ask everybody in this group chat here, everybody in here, what is your experience and how would you define your gaming life post dad, post fatherhood, now that you're a father of children? And what was it a lot more gaming before children or more gaming after children, or like, where does that land for you?
I'll go first because I was like, I'm a big retro gamer, but I was really my secret shame is MMOs. I play 2 basically old ones, and before kids, I actually got to play them and hang out like in Lord of the Rings and Star Wars: Old Republic, and actually hang out with guild mates that I'd known for 13 years. So whenever I became a dad, I just ghosted them. I just go like I'd pop in every now and then, and that's big. That was a big change, like losing that group for like that constant group. Like I don't do that anymore. That's why I rely more on retro games now, because you can play a bunch of retro games in 20 minutes and feel like you've gamed a lot, right? Because they're also short and high score based. But yeah, getting used to not playing like and hanging out with my guild buddies in those games, that's changed big time for me. But I wouldn't trade it for the world, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. I don't think anybody would.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us here would. Well, I guess I shouldn't speak for everybody. I'll let you guys speak for yourselves.
I'll re-answer that when I have to pay their college bills. It wasn't worth it.
No, those are expensive, very expensive. I'll go next. My thing is I was never much for multiplayer. I'm kind of the opposite. I still like all the retro stuff, but I would always like to play a lot of single player, and I play stuff when I can. Now I've got so many games because I swear I'm better at buying games than playing games. I'm really good at knowing what's coming out next and going right out and buying it, but I never really play more than, I've got 20 minutes into so many of them. So, but I used to play some of them a lot longer. But now if I get really sucked into something, there's a guilt level where you're like, your wife is yelling downstairs, like, when are you going to come out of the basement? And even if it's like 9 or 10 o'clock and you play until 1 or whatever, you still feel like, oh geez, like what I should have been doing something or taking care of something.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a little guilt factor there, I think. But again, I wouldn't trade it for the world either. I'm sure that in a few years, this is my thought anyway, is that as my kids get older and stuff, maybe then I'll need something to do and I'll have all this backlog,
Exactly.
That's
Get them
what I'm
now
thinking.
while they're cheap, because especially the RPGs, the single players, like in 10 years from now, 20 years from now, some of those first party RPGs or limited run games are going to be worth a lot. And as collectors, we don't like to pay that price, right? We like to find them in a dustbin on a garage sale somewhere, right?
If you can, right? Garage sailing's gotten a little slow lately.
Yeah.
We don't have them anymore. Like, I think they just started up like a week or so up here, like during the pandemic. It's been tough.
There's a big flea market near me, and I think it's still open, but flea markets got bad after a while. Everybody wanted to get eBay rich off of flea markets,
Yeah,
so.
they wanted to sell it at eBay pricing, and you're like, dude, this ain't eBay.
It's the same up here, man. Like I think YouTube, with the popularity of a lot of big channels, it's really impacted prices. You got to say though, it's educated people on what they have and what the value is. So we can't get those bargains as much anymore.
Yeah,
You know what
I never try to
saying?
rip anyone off when I go to
of
the
course
flea
not,
market,
right.
but at the same time, I don't want to just pay $1 million for something. It'd be nice to find at least a deal, So.
Yeah, I went and got Persona on PlayStation Portable. I'm a big handheld guy, and I was a person at work, and he was just wanting to give them to me, like the 3 Personas. 2 were just disc. for like $30. And I'm like, dude, one of these games is actually worth like $150. Like, let me give you more of that. You know what he wanted? He wanted $30. And all I had to do with him was help him learn how to do video editing. And that was the deal. So I took a couple hours and taught him some video editing and probably showed him how to do it wrong. But like I felt him like I had to give him something more. That's kind of funny.
Mhm.
I have to
I
say,
think
we're
you just-
pretty
I think you
lucky
just
down
made,
here for flea markets.
Oh yeah.
Our people don't know anything where I live, so the prices are still pretty cheap.
Where are you at?
Nice.
I'm in Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I think when you said video editing, I saw Alex down there just start to like tense up and get a little, because he spends a lot of time video editing.
Well, watch any of my videos, you could tell I don't. I do one shots on all my. I told you that before, Chris. Like all I do is it's just one shot, and if I have to edit, it's because I said something I wasn't supposed to say, or somebody walked in the room, and you can hear me. I used to put outtakes at the end of my videos, and nobody ever saw them. But if you ever go back some of my old videos, there's outtakes of Pete being little upset.
Well, we had outtakes when we started our podcast, Will and I, but it ended up being too much work. So now the outtakes just stay in.
Yeah, that's nice.
Alex, how about you? What's gaming and daddom done to you?
So I mean, I don't really know if I have memories of existing and not playing games. So pretty much been playing games my whole life. So like Pete, I was really big into MMOs, except the problem is my wife hates games. So when we got together is when I made the MMO cut, because MMOs just take too much time out of the day. So pretty much got off of MMOs then, but most of my friends played other games and played like multiplayer stuff. So going into parenthood, honestly, nothing changed. I have a lot to credit to my wife. She's very much stronger than me when it comes to the parenting stuff, and she gives me a lot of leeway to do things that I need to do. And she lets me play games, and I'm very grateful for that. But the other thing, I just don't sleep. So when everybody's asleep, I'm up until like 6 a.m., either editing, recording something, or playing a game. And I think one thing that becoming a parent made me do is probably put more value on my time. So like that's when I kind of at some point started the channel to make videos about games and playing games, because at that point I felt like I was doing something more than just playing games. So it's kind of like an excuse to play them. It's like I'm progressing towards something more than just playing them. So yeah, I don't know. I think becoming a parent gave me a curse where I don't play games unless I'm recording. Like you'll very rarely see me playing a game unless I'm recording for something. So
Rocket League.
well, that's a different story. But yeah, I don't know.
Is that guilt factor I was talking about? So like if you're just playing it for you, you feel guilty, but if you're playing it for you know, I'm making a video, you know, that
I think that's a very big portion of it. It gives me an excuse to not feel guilty if I'm making a video or doing something. And you know, it's been a really good experience to be able to, you know, watch my children grow and play games with them, because I played games growing up and my dad only played Sega Street Fighter, and all he did was smash the controller and like didn't do combos. He just beat the shit out of me in the game, like by hitting every button imaginable. And I'm like, bro, you got to learn combos, but somehow he still beat me. And that's the only experience I have with like playing games with my parents. So it's been very interesting to be on the flip side and like me teaching my son how to play and watching him grow up playing games. So
How about you, Zeo?
Let's see. Big MMO player, also League of Legends until my first one came around. Then I didn't play games for like 3 years. So that's how that went. Since then, of course, I play whenever I get a chance. Yeah, my kids play some things. One likes Farming Simulator. The other one, or that one also likes the Big Rig Simulator, whatever that's called.
The semi-truck one?
Yeah, the semi-truck one.
Okay.
He's got like some kind of Euro truck or something on his
phone.
phone. He's playing all the time now. And he wants the one for the console. I'm just poor. So, And my other one has beaten Mario, Super Mario Wii U, and beat Bowser's Fury recently. So he's real excited about that. He's on his way to beating Luigi's Mansion 3. So he's real excited about that. And yeah, right now they're all sick, so I've quarantined away from them. And I've been playing Diablo 2.
Oh, nice.
There you go. Diablo 2. Are you getting Diablo 3 on the Switch then? I heard that's coming, or maybe already has.
Oh, that's already been out.
That's
too.
already came
Okay,
out.
okay.
I finished that years ago. Come on, Chris.
On the Switch though.
Yeah, on the Switch.
It's been
Diablo
really
3 is
that
one of my
long?
favorite games of the last 10 years. I finished it on every console, every class.
I gotta go to the
PS3.
You know, it's funny. I was just
360.
at a store that had a poster that said Diablo 3 coming soon. So I might need to go tell that store owner.
You have to take
It's a
your
few
gaming
years
card
too
away
late.
from you.
I'm like, hold up, what? Coming
Yeah,
soon.
I mean, we just launched Diablo 2 Resurrected.
Yeah, that's on Switch
That's
now
on
too.
the Switch.
That's the first time I've ever played it. Is
Which reminds
I've
me,
never
the
played it on
Switch one
PC.
is so. The Switch one has an ability bar. PC doesn't get that.
Yeah.
That's BS.
Hold on. You can plug a controller in and you get the ability bar.
Yeah.
I
Oh, wait,
played
really?
I
Will
played on
it
the
swap over?
remastered and I was playing mouse and keyboard and I gave up. I was like, this sucks. So then I plugged my controller in and I was like, sweet, it's so much better.
I'm
So
still going to do that then.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab
Yeah.
that controller later and do it.
I suggest.
He's like, I'm plugging it in now during this podcast.
Yeah. This is when I'm getting my gaming and I'm playing. I should get my Evercade and start playing it.
Hey, you have made me actually more interested in the Evercade than I was even previously. So
The VS coming out in
congrats
5 weeks.
to you. Oh, I would get a portable. I've discovered that literally all of my gaming time, this is my explanation here, it's been pretty much portable gaming. So like the Vita has been great for me. Breaking out my Game Boy Advance, the Switch has been nice. Being able to game remotely on my Xbox One on my phone has been a nice option too. Basically anything that I can remotely play away from a console or a TV means I actually get some gaming time in during the day. So that's been my experience, which is actually one of the biggest reasons I'd never upgraded from the PS4 to the PS5, despite having many opportunities to do so. Was because the Vita will still remote play with the PS4, but it won't remote play with the PS5. So Sony, you took away the one feature that might have had me upgrade into a PS5 by removing a remote play to the Vita. So there's that. But yeah, my game time is basically just whatever I can get in after the kids are in bed, after my wife's pretty much passed out. That's when I game. And then sometimes early in the morning, if I'm up before everybody else, I might play for like 20, 30 minutes.
That's my time. I get up at 5:36 in the morning. Everybody's asleep until 7 or 8, depending on the weekend or weekday, and I game. That's what I do.
My kids only sleep in when they're sick. They're always up at like 5. So like it's pretty bad.
You gotta let them go to bed at like 9 or 10, dude. That's the trick.
Well, maybe eventually, but they go to bed. They go to bed early because they're tired by like 7:30.
Yeah,
Gosh,
keep
if
them
I
up.
could get
Keep them
my
up till
kids to
11.
bed by 7:30,
11.
that would be amazing.
Which is why I game at night, because they're in bed by they're asleep by 8. Usually.
I can't game at night because I lose my consoles because my wife's a pretty hardcore gamer. Like, I mean, like, I am like no type of gamer compared to her. Like, she's Demon Souls, Bloodborne, 100% everything she plays. Like, she's like maniac for those games. But she'll only play like 4 games a year. But it takes her the whole year because she 100%s them all. It's
Raise your
crazy.
hand if your wife does actually play games. That's a good poll here.
Yeah, but she's intimidating because she plays games I'm no good at, and
I
like
think-
most of the world aren't good at is like Bloodborne and Demon Souls and Dark Souls, right? Like she's like
Those
a
are the
maniac
hard
at
ones.
those.
Yeah, I think you might be in a league of your own here. I think the rest of us, our wives don't game as much as yours does.
Well, she like I said,
Yeah.
like she takes over. So whenever
Oh, I
the kids are in
believe you.
bed, I go to bed, and I could just see in my office the lights lighting up the PlayStation because I have a PlayStation 5. I don't even play it. I have my Xbox. She got the PlayStation 5.
I remember when you said you were debating buying one. It was like you're like, my wife wants this, so we're gonna get one.
Make her happy. That's all I can say.
See, I don't watch a lot of Twitch and stuff, but if my wife did play and she was good at stuff like that, that would be relaxing. I think to actually sit in the same room and watch someone beat
Oh, I do.
something
I
like
watch
that.
that.
That would be great. So
My confidence goes really, really low, though.
I just wish I had that kind of attention span. I can't get good at stuff like that because I'm already thinking about 5 other games before I even get to the first boss.
I was watching her play Bloodborne, and I tried to give her advice one time, and I realized that, like, what am I doing? I haven't even made it to the first boss in that game, let alone, like, the 6th. I can remember I put 30 hours into Dark Souls on the Switch when it came out. 30 hours. And I was so proud of it until I told my wife, this is how far I got. And she goes, you haven't even made it to the first boss in the game yet. I spent 30 hours running around the world, and I'm dying and going back and getting my stuff. And I'm like, I took it out. I don't even think I own it anymore. I might have threw it away or traded it somewhere. I'm so devastated by that.
Sounds like you got your money's worth, though, so that's good.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's another good point. Like, do you ever find yourself as a dad buying too many games you'll never finish and never getting your money's worth out of them?
All I got to do is look around.
I've definitely gotten to that point now.
I have definitely not finished everything, and this is just a third of what's in my room.
I have slowed down so much in purchasing stuff, like so much slower.
I have not.
I've got a small backlog because I don't pay much, or I don't buy much, but there are still several games in my list that I haven't even been able to touch.
I was sitting here waiting for this thing to start, and I ordered something.
I'm still looking at eBay right now for an Amiga CD32. If you see my eyes go that way, I'm probably bidding on something.
I did pre-order the Steam Deck because I was talking to you guys about the portable gaming has turned into like basically the thing I can do best. Because if my wife's watching the History Channel on our TV in the bedroom, it's like, okay, so I pop out whatever portable machine I've got.
You have a TV in your bedroom?
We do, yeah. Because
I've been working for 15 years now. My wife did let me put a TV in the bedroom.
I can tell you what finally did it was the second kid. When she was pregnant with our second kid, we decided TV in the bedroom was necessary because she could take a nap while we put something on the TV.
Oh. Yeah, I'd love to have one. I might compromise with buy the Steam Deck so I can play while she's on the PS5 or the Xbox or whatever. I can play mine. Like you can do that. Most of the Xbox games are PC games anyway, right? And with Game Pass, so I can play them.
Exactly. So basically, when my wife's got some documentary going on, we're tired laying in bed, I can pull up my Steam Deck and play my entire Steam library.
Yeah. Finally. That's all I can say. Yeah. Who doesn't buy like tons of Steam games when they're at like $1 a game during the spring sales? Like you could go buy the Ubisoft collection for like $4. I bought those and I've never downloaded or clicked on them, but I have them.
I'm just picturing GTA now. You can get GTA 5 mobile essentially.
Oh, I don't like the GTA series.
I'm not a huge fan of GTA to be honest with you, but I'm thinking about like what other consoles can GTA 5 come to, and they're like, oh, they'll probably have a specialized Steam Deck version,
or Skyrim.
And they'll sell it to you. Yeah, Skyrim probably too.
How many versions of Skyrims do you all have, and how many have you finished? I've got like 5 and never finished Skyrim. I don't know why. I get closer and I buy it on another console. I'm waiting for it to get installed on my fridge.
In the main quest finished, but that
Skyrim bricked my PS3, so I haven't gone back to it.
Really?
Yeah, remember there's that save glitch right when they first launched.
Oh, I had that with War in the North, the Lord of the Rings game for 360. Okay. That has a very bad glitch on it. It doesn't brick your 360, but you have to reset the whole hardware to get it to work. Like you have to do a custom reset. Yeah.
Yeah, I you know what I've learned though is any type of hardware malfunction or glitch will pretty much send me spiraling out to not ever touch or play that game because I have so much limited time as a dad. So anytime I can automate like updates or installs while I'm doing something else, you better believe that's going on in the background during the day so that I can play that at night when I finally have time.
How disappointing that is as a dad or a mom out there, where you finally get to sit down and play your favorite game, and there's a 4 gigabyte update waiting for you.
Just throw the controller.
Isn't that devastating? I just put YouTube on and then watch something
I get so mad.
Well, that's why I love Xbox. It seems like it does everything I need to do without me ever turning it on. I'm sure it's running over there now, but there's no light on. But everything is always updated on it. I don't know what's going on with that box. Like, it's always warm too. If you notice the new Series X, if you haven't, it's always warm, yet the power is never on. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of creepy.
It's like
You
you
could
heat
cuddle
your
it for
house with
warmth.
Xboxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
New Xbox heater.
Yeah, I love that thing though. Like I was a Sony for last gen, but when I got that Xbox One X, it's like backwards compat. Like my 360 games, it's pretty amazing piece of hardware. Expensive though. I had to save 16 months. That's what I did. I put money away every paycheck for my PS5 and my Xbox. And I remember the day going, and I didn't want to get that PS5, but I had to for the wife.
Happy wife,
I
happy
mean-
life.
Yeah.
I bought a PS5 and I played it once, so I don't know why I bought it. But
You could make a lot of money now if you like. You could sell that for like $1,000, man.
I'm thinking
I grew up on
scalpers are still
Xbox.
scalping.
and Microsoft, so I skipped Sony entirely. So I was like, okay, PS5, I'll finally get on the bandwagon. I'll play backwards compatibility. I'll play the backlog of games. And then like I got it. I put Ratchet and Clank in, and it was like, hold on while we install your 100 gigabytes of game. And I was like,
It's
I'm
like
done
Call
with
of
this
Duty.
shit.
Every
I just
game is
turned it
Call of
off.
Duty.
I'm like, why did I get a physical like machine that I can't use physical media on? Like I just I'm so
Yeah, I
over
don't collect anything now past I think the only thing I collect for now is the Xbox generation back. Like
what's
I'll
the
get
point?
like Switch stuff. Like I got Switch games physical because like they don't have big day one patches for the most part. But anything else now.
Well, the
I don't
Switch
have
actually plays
anything.
off the cart, so that makes a big difference too. You don't have to initialize or install every single Switch game.
Yeah.
I've passed on some Switch games that require the big download because I just don't.
Oh yeah, me too, Chad. I won't touch anything that requires you get the first game in the series and the second one you got to download. No, you know what I'll do? I'll wait for Play Asia to put it on sale and get the international version because they put it both on carts. But yeah, I'm done with that download crap.
I didn't want to do it, but I did. It was so cheap to get XCOM 2 on that. And like Chris is saying, you like playing stuff on the go, or you get rid of the guilt. If they're watching a movie that you don't like, you can at least sit on the couch in your own corner and play something else on the Switch and not get in trouble for it.
Yeah, until
like,
they tell you
watching-
that you're making too much noise and you have to leave the room.
You're like, oh, you guys are gonna watch Minions again, huh? All right, I guess I'll.
Dude,
break
I'll
out.
watch that. I'm like, that's what I love.
But
Like,
after the 100th time, I think you're.
no, you never no bananas, man. It's awesome. I love the menu. I'm a big kid, right?
King Bob.
Yeah, but you know what I do? I'm nefarious with my kids. So there's two games I absolutely love. Well, genres I love is racing games, but arcade kid racing games. So I got my little girl and boy into it early on. So anytime there's a Mario Kart or a Sega game or the Nickelodeon games, I'm like, hey guys,
Well, Mario
I'll play
Kart.
with you.
Everybody
You want to
can
play
get into
this
that.
game, but it's actually for me because I love kart racing games. So that's what I'll sit on the couch with the kids. And
That
we'll just,
Nickelodeon cart one's not. Well, at least the
No, it's
second
awful.
one's not that. The second one's not that bad.
no, the first one's awful though.
Okay, I didn't play the first one, but you
Yeah.
can be Stimpy. So like,
Yeah, the
that's
second
cool.
one plays better. The second one got better controls. First one, the controls are really, really bad.
Yeah, the
Like,
second
it's
one
not
feels
good.
a little bit like Mario Kart Light, but it's
Yeah.
okay. So yeah.
Yeah, but that's my secret shame. I love kart racers, but I get the kids, and now they love them. Like Mario Kart, we must have, no joke, 1,000 hours in that game. In Mario Kart 8 and the Cars 3 game, which is a fantastic game if anybody likes those types. It's like a cartoon, but the game itself is a really good racer. And
Speaking
fun
of
to play.
racing games, I did try to break out the Super Nintendo Mario Kart. What is it? Super Mario Kart? Yeah, Super Mario Kart, right? And literally, I was playing with some kids. They were older than my kids, but we were playing with my friends' kids. And they were like, this is horrible. And I was like, what? I grew up on this.
My son is not, he for a while wasn't into retro games. Like, he really didn't until he could find out that he could go and at Toys R Us. They have the little retro mini versions of the games, and he saw it and he likes the cabinet. So now he's collecting. I got him Frogger, and for Christmas he wants Miss Pac-Man and stuff. So he likes it because he can, like, it looks like he's playing at an arcade. So he's getting a little bit into retro right now, which is cool. And I'm glad Toys R Us carries all that up here. They got tons of those little retro stuff.
Yeah, rub it in. Still got
You all
Toys R
have
Us up
Toys
in
R Us?
Canada. Toys R Us.
That's still a
Toys R Us
thing?
pretty much doesn't exist in the United States.
Yeah, Toys R Us is like massive in Canada, like a huge.
Yeah, they shut ours down. It was a sad day.
Yeah,
Mine actually is a spirit Halloween now. It's not just a meme. It really is
the
a
ghost of
spirit
Toys R Us.
Halloween now.
What's the giraffe's name? Jerry? Is it Jerry Giraffe? Gerald? The
Yeah, the
mascot.
name.
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey,
the draft,
yeah.
That's right. Yep,
Spirit of
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Hump. That store.
The generation of Toys R Us kids is over, though.
Yeah,
at
I
least in the
forget.
United
Yeah,
States.
you guys are all American, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry you guys lost that store, but that store is awesome. I love it.
I rolled up to my Toys R Us when they were going out of business, and I was like, let's see what they got. Walked in, and they had like a little aisle of like the stuff you'd buy at the checkout left. The entire store is empty, and there's people loading up the shelves into U-Hauls. Like they came and bought the shelving. The entire store got gutted, bro. Like everything got bought. I was like, okay, dang.
Alex, I thought you were going to say you walked in, the only thing left was Starlink.
Yeah.
They still
Okay.
have unsold copies
Dude,
of that.
I can buy
the
all
Meyer
Starlink for like $1. And
Yeah.
I bought them all retail when it come out because I love that game.
It looks like a cool game. I
I
just
feel
can't.
like an idiot now. You know.
I just bought the digital pack for my son and I, so we didn't have to keep swapping everything around.
Oh, yeah, I bought it
So-
digitally and then bought the physical stuff.
Yeah.
And because my son likes to play with the planes, like the space race, I liked the game. I thought it was a pretty decent game.
Ooh, here's a
Definitely
good
good
question
co-op
for you
game.
guys. And I'll let Alex go first since I keep interrupting him. When Nintendo and other companies come out with kind of more gimmicky stuff that are like aimed at dad, son, mother, daughter interactions, those kind of things, how do you feel about that from a consumer perspective? Like the Nintendo Labo. Nintendo basically abandoned that after they dropped it. Like, how do you guys feel about those kinds of things?
It's just a fight waiting to happen, that Labo thing. That's what I call that. Why give my kid a cardboard box? Alex, you go. I interrupted you that time.
No,
but
you're
yeah, I'm
good.
sorry.
I was just gonna say it kind of goes hand in hand with the backlog question we already answered, but I don't buy games unless I'm gonna play them, unless it's Nintendo. Anything Nintendo releases, I just buy. So like, I have Nintendo Labo, I have all the Nintendo Labos, I have every Nintendo game. I have ARMS. People hated it for some reason.
Hey, ARMS
It's
is
pretty
fun.
ARMS is great.
I played that with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good game. I have
Yeah.
Splatoon. I like it, but I hate that you can't really play online with people. It's kind of broken, but
Well, and there's
Like-
a lot of cheating too, right, Alex? And I
Yeah.
did. My son's
Yeah.
was big into Splatoon 1 and 2, and I'm going to get him 3. But yeah, it was a lot of cheating in that. He kept asking me, why is like these people not dying? And I'm like, don't worry, son. It's, it happens.
so, and yes, Amiibo. I bought Amiibo. So to answer, that doesn't answer your question, but that being said, I think it's interesting that they do that kind of stuff. I don't like that they kind of abandon it, especially because like Pokemon Snap came out and they have a camera Labo. Like, why doesn't the camera Labo support Pokemon Snap? They did update Mario Kart post Labo and added Mario Kart support to Labo, which is interesting. I wish they would just like follow through and not go the Google route, where Google just kills shit and stops supporting it. So I really wish they would just support it.
Hey,
If they were
somehow
gonna do
Stadia is still a thing.
I know.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
Stadia is making a rebound, dude. Like they feel like they've weathered some storms. Like I want all gaming to succeed. Is that wrong? Like I like anybody who wants to get into space that I love, and as long as they're not hurting customers, I want to be successful. I think Stadia like kind of overpromised a little bit too much. Like
And
and
Stadia is hanging in there barely. So,
I think the issue I have with Stadia isn't that they exist, is that they bring very little to the table to add to the gaming space, and they've been trying to get essentially exclusives that would otherwise go to other platforms. So like
Yeah.
instead of adding to the gaming ecosystem,
Yeah.
they're kind of taking away from it, and
but they're
that's
not
my-
doing anything more than a Sony or an Xbox does with exclusive.
No,
right?
they're just
Yeah.
a much smaller platform. So like when they get an
Well,
exclusive, it's
yeah.
a little more damaging to everybody else. who
Yeah, I
wanted
get
that
what you're
game.
saying.
The
Um,
Stadia problem is that they promise a lot of stuff and yet may work as long as you have some of the best connections, and not everybody has that. So
Yeah.
there's your problem because
Yeah.
Farmtown
It's-
USA over here.
really dependent on where you are and what
Yeah.
country you're in.
yeah,
Because other countries, like I think Europe and stuff, has way better internet than the rest of us here in the States.
Mhm.
Meanwhile,
Yeah,
for
I'm
us,
with you
we're
guys.
just
Like,
stuck between two providers if we got that, and it's a crapshoot of whether or not they're
I
good
have
or
one.
not.
I have one provider, and then that provider, they have to sell their bandwidth to a bunch of little providers. But the little providers, they cap you. So the big
Oh,
provider won't
no.
cap you, but little providers cap you. And I'm a gamer, and I can't be capped. It's wrong. So I have to
Yeah.
go with the big one. But the big one's fair. Like it's good. I mean, but I was going to ask you though, Stadia and these streaming services, aren't they solving one of the problems of gamer parents? Is like we don't have to worry about installing patches. The game's ready to go anytime we want to play it. It's like if
it
there,
works, yes. If it works, then yes.
like
Yeah,
eventually
I
if
mean, you
they
get
get the
access to
internet.
Stadia and it works. It's not bad. I mean, its library is tiny, but it's getting there. It's chugging along. It's not going to outsell Xbox or anything, but it's still doing what it's doing. The only problem is nobody else can do anything similar because they get shut down for one reason or another.
Like Nvidia's GeForce now.
Yeah,
Amazon
that
is
really
trying,
ticked
right?
me off.
Isn't Amazon doing Luna or something?
Yeah, Luna's it's kind of in a weird place because they've got this really great game, that New World game. I've heard a lot of people like that. But at the same time, I don't think the service, like people don't associate that game specifically with Luna. They just associate that with like an Amazon studio. Luna is like so in the background. It's almost as bad as the Fire Phone was, where like Amazon's like, yeah, we have this. And it's like kicking around in some corner and like 3 buildings over, and they just don't talk about it anymore.
Netflix is also wanting to get into the game.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
A video on, and I completely forgot about that. So let me.
I already did like 2 videos on Netflix's gaming, so I can help
that?
you.
I missed it.
You must have missed it.
Well,
they bought the company that makes Oxenfree. They bought the company that makes Oxenfree. That's Night School Studios, and they've launched 5 mobile games only in 3 European countries.
Yeah, they're test marketing it, right? That's what mobile is, right? Mobile, before any games comes out, there's 4 markets in the world.
They missed the boat. You know who they should have bought was Telltale Games. That's the only one that makes sense for Netflix to pick up.
Oh, you're not one of those guys, are you, Chris?
What do you mean?
Guys.
What do you mean?
Come on.
Telltale Games is fun.
I
like Telltale Games. But what I'm saying
Game
is,
of Thrones one was good. I like that one.
When you think about what Netflix as a film studio could do with a company like Telltale, like they've got the budget for the writers, the scripters, and then having a gaming division on top of that. They experimented with Minecraft Story Mode, and I think that was pretty successful on the Netflix platform. But how easy would it be to just load in a Telltale Games game into Netflix and then have people just be able to access and play it? But instead, they're doing this weird thing where you got to download a mobile game, sign in via Netflix. It doesn't make sense. They need to work some kinks out.
But like, I do think streaming is the future, as much as it pains us.
But that's not what Netflix is doing. That's what I'm saying. Like
they're doing packaged goods.
Exactly. Yeah, like mobile apps, one-off mobile apps. So you don't log into Netflix and then play a mobile game on the Netflix app. You download a separate app.
That was what they were going to do. I meant to look into it weeks ago. Completely.
It's bad.
I was like, watch them do something with mobile. And
it can't be successful the way they want to do it. And as a gaming dad, I would be so confused trying to set that up the first time that I'd probably just give up.
Well, I was confused with Stadia because I got a free month of Stadia. So I logged in, and it really just throws you in there. It doesn't tell you, like, I got a free month of Pro, and it really didn't tell you exactly what you get for Pro or anything. Right. So I'm just claiming all these things, and all of a sudden I couldn't claim anymore because I claimed the amount I could claim for that month. But the ones I thought they were all free to me. So the games I really wanted, now I got to buy. I'm like, screw that. I'm not doing that. Like, I'm done. My month's out. I'm over it. But I still think that's the future, because for me as I get older, because I'm an old dog pushing 50, that I'm going to love the fact one day I can just take my controller, turn on my TV, and just play any game I want and not have downloads, discs, patches, all that kind of stuff. That sounds really cool to me.
Well, I think with the advent of patching and all that, I think your version of the future makes more sense for all of us who want everything available right now and I plug a disc or cartridge in. Because right now
we have that, but that days are gone, right?
Exactly.
The Switch is the last of that, I think. The last of this ever to have that on the disc, the whole game, or a cart. I think, like, that's exciting me about Evercade, the fact that I'm getting a new retro console that has physical media with all the ROMs on there. Like, that's pretty cool. And they're putting new indie games out, because their new Indie Heroes game was all new games that came out in the last 5 years, but they're just retro inspired, right? That's pretty cool. So there's a niche available, but it won't be the mainstream thing. Like that's why Sony is buying streaming companies. Microsoft is a streaming company now. It's crazy.
Oh, Pete, Mike wanted to let you know something. He said you didn't miss out on any games or choose wrong. Stadia gives you a
Thanks,
few
Mike.
free each month. The rest are paid. It isn't a choice.
Which is weird. Why give a subscription, charge a subscription if I got to buy extra games on top of it? That's kind of weird.
Yes, this is exactly my problem with Stadia.
That's one of the
It's-
problems with Stadia.
I love Game Pass. I think Game Pass is the perfect system. I love it.
Yeah, if even if you don't have an Xbox, Game Pass is amazing.
Yeah. PC.
If you've got a PC, get Game Pass. You're doing a disservice to yourself if you don't.
So I asked you this, Zeo and Chad. You were nodding. I'm sure Alex probably agrees with that green wall. He has to be an Xbox fan. I know.
No, this is green screen.
I know. I love that. But why is Game Pass and at Microsoft not blowing Sony out of the water with this service? Like, why is nobody going? Like, why is there 10 million PS4s and only 6 million Xbox Ones? And like, there's this big discrepancy. I don't understand
I'm
that.
sure
Like,
PlayStation was winning the last generation.
By a long shot.
yeah,
but
big
now
time.
with the certain thing that's going on and stuff, and silicone and everything else being harder to get, I'm not really sure how it's stacking up right now. But Xbox still has the superior service, but everybody's also still on PlayStation right now.
Yeah, I just don't get it conceptually as a gamer, as somebody who's wants to get everything for free if I can. Let's be honest, the cheapest I can get it, and I'm paying $15 a month because the first 3 months was $1. I got that special deal for the Ultimate bundle, so I'm paying like $15 Canadian a month now for the Ultimate Game Pass, and I'm like, it's freaking amazing. Like every time I turn it on, there's a new game waiting for me to play.
I was gonna say, how nice is a service like Game Pass as a dad who games?
Oh, and they put
Amazing.
360 games on there, which is awesome. So now I don't have to take it into my library, take the disc out and put it in. I love this lazy world they're building for me. It's awesome.
I've
so
tried a
many
bunch of
games
stuff
on
I
there.
wouldn't have otherwise played.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I mean, I tried No Man's Sky only because it was there. There's several, and I can't remember what it is. And the Master Chief
Outriders.
Collection's on there.
Outriders. I tried that, finished that on Game Pass, all because I never knew it existed, because I don't really follow a lot of modern games. Didn't know it existed. Showed up one day and it was on my Game Pass, and I'm like, that looks cool. It looks like a Mass Effect kind of Dragon Age kind of shooter in space. I got to go play this. And I sat down, and 30 hours later, I
Outriders
finished
or
it.
Outer Worlds?
Outriders. The shooter? The
I-
Gears
I-
of War
are we-
meets Mass
are we-
Effect.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Now I got to look this up.
That one-
Outriders.
Outriders
It's a
is a shooter.
fantastic. Doesn't it have one of the best premises for a story?
I
The
haven't
first couple
I haven't
acts,
tried
and then
it. I
it
know what
just
it is.
kind of goes somewhere I wasn't expecting.
I only played
Outriders
the
was like a
demo.
fighter game.
It's Gears of
Nah.
War meets Destiny meets Mass Effect kind of game.
It's like a
Oh,
three-player. So you can
Yeah.
squad up with 3 people and do the entire campaign.
And it's all PvE. Like there is some co-op stuff in there, but
Did-
it
I
is.
thought you were talking about this one.
So,
Yeah.
Chris, it was one of my
That one's
games of the
cute.
year last year, Chris, and thank you for watching
Okay.
that video, buddy. I appreciate it.
I probably missed that one. I'm not gonna lie.
I know
Was it- what was the problem with
I don't even
Outriders when
watch
it
my
came
own
out?
videos.
Didn't-
Well, Outriders.
No, Outer Worlds. That's also on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Outer
they're
Worlds
both
is
on
good.
there. That's why I was confused.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Outer Worlds one I did try. That's the other one I tried that I never thought I'd ever play. Was that game? I didn't like it though.
Yeah, I got to play Killer Instinct because of it. The new one.
Oh,
Crackdown
is it any?
3.
Is it as good as the SNES and N64 versions?
It's all right when it works.
Yeah.
That
was like the N64 version.
Like, sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. It's the only game I've ever really had a problem with on it, on the PC side anyway.
Yeah.
I've got my SNES card of Killer Instinct. That's the last time I bought Killer
But
Instinct.
there's definitely a couple of OP characters who just have to boom, 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 and you'll never be able to break out of it, and they just it's not fun then.
But Chris, play Outriders. If you have an Xbox, you have Game Pass. If it's still there, play it, man. It's worth it. It's a fun game. The story is fun. I like the premise. Kind of falls flat for me a little bit, like third act, but it's pretty fun.
Well,
All right,
since
I'll
we're-
take a look at it.
Hey, since we're talking games that you must play if you have Game Pass, Chris, you'll probably laugh because I'm still beating this drum. Play Yakuza. You have to play Yakuza. If you never played any of those games,
I haven't played it. I have it. I have it here. I have the physical version wrapped. I want to play it.
Start at Yakuza 0. They're all on Game Pass now. starting.
What about
with
Like a
it.
Dragon? Because that's the only one I want to play right
Yakuza.
away.
I didn't like a Dragon.
Is that the last one, Like a Dragon?
Yeah,
that's-
basically, right?
Yeah, that's the newer one, but that one's turn-based combat. The other one is kind of like a beat 'em up, but then you go and do other stuff. It's not. People think it's like GTA.
No. Like a Dragon is the one that interests me the most because I
Mhm.
love turn-based combat.
Wait, is turn-based combat? I thought it was like the other ones where it was
No,
kind of action
Like
combat.
a Dragon is the one that's turn-based. It's almost like they applied the Persona
Wait.
UI to Like a Dragon.
Like a Dragon is the last one that came out on Series X, right?
Yes, it's the newest one. Yeah. with
Okay, that's the
different
one I
character.
I've got ready to play, but I've not
Yeah.
played any Yakuza, but I assumed it was an action combat game.
The
like
other ones
GTA.
are.
Okay.
That
The
one's
other
like
one-
they've done a couple like side games that are like
Oh.
they're part of the canonical storyline, but they're actually different types of games.
I don't
Well, they-
mind turn-based games.
They did 6 games with the same main guy, Kiryu, the guy that you see, the Yakuza guy that's always on the front. And then they kind of wrapped up his story in 6, and then Like a Dragon came out with a new character, and then they tried this turn-based combat instead of the other thing. The other game that's just like it is Judgment, and Lost Judgment just came out. Those I don't think are on Game Pass, but that's made by the same studio, and it's really similar to the earlier ones, except for now you're a detective. They all happen in the same city. Even Lost Judgment happens in the same city that all the Yakuza games are in. So once you play a bunch of them, you know when he's like, "Oh yeah, go down to this place," and you're like, "Oh, I know how to get there." You just walk. You don't even have to think about it. You like lived in this town.
That's actually
It's
pretty
super
cool when you think
Yeah.
of it. That's really cool. Like that they're keeping all their IPs in one
Mhm.
area because keeps you invested in the franchise. Like
Right.
I'm excited to try them, especially now they're all on Game Pass.
They put new ones out frequently, and so I think it makes it easier for them to just keep doing stories because they don't have to build a whole new
Yeah, the
city
world's
every-
built, right? They just put a
Yeah.
little sheen on it, maybe add a neighborhood or something like that, right?
I played that game on a whim. I watched the Angry Joe review, and he was making fun of it, and it was kind of funny, and it looked really weird. And I'm like, saw it at Best Buy, so I grabbed it, and I swear to you, it's my favorite series of all time. Yakuza started Yakuza 0. So I've heard other guys, Alpha Omega Sin used to go on and on about it all the time too.
Does he still do YouTube?
He's on Twitter all the time. I actually bumped into him and talked to him because I live in Ohio near the edge of Pennsylvania. So he lives in Pittsburgh, and I went to a retro thing there a bunch of years ago. I had no subs. I had just started my channel, and I'm like, "Hey man, I know who you are. Can we talk for a minute?" Sat and talked with me for an hour, explaining all the things you're supposed to do to get on YouTube. And then when I got on my, because I'm on Screenwave, when I got on that, my channel manager was the same guy who was his channel manager. It was kind of weird, but that's Justin from, you remember Justin? So
Got
yeah,
to
it was.
interview him.
Yeah, Justin's cool too. Silverman, if you guys know who that is, AVGN, he's on that all the time now. But yeah, those guys are super cool. But long story short, play Yakuza. That I have to tell everyone that every time I talk to anybody.
Yeah, I can remember seeing Alpha Omega Sin on the Game Chasers, I believe. He was on a couple of their episodes I watched.
Yeah, those guys are cool. I met them at Too Many Games a couple times, but I don't know. They're in
Yeah.
Texas. So
Here's
Yeah.
a good question for all of you gamers and YouTubers in this chat. I want to ask it because I know Pete's time is probably shorter than the rest, and I want to make sure he answers too. right,
They can
let me-
pace themselves.
So here's the question: do you find yourself spending more time doing YouTube or gaming? Being that we're all dads who game and do YouTube.
Can you define do YouTube?
I mean, you game and YouTube at the same time, but then you spend half the time editing. So I don't know.
I kind of do too. I think it's probably gaming because most of my YouTube content is me talking about games I'm playing at the time or games I'm literally playing while I'm recording. So I would say I still game more, I think. It's just both are very small parts of what I do in the day. Like YouTube was like, I made a commitment to myself when I did YouTube, like, don't think you're going to be the next rising star and 5-10 hours for every video. That's what I'm doing it for. I'm just having fun. That's all I continue to do that. Like if a video takes more than an hour for me to do end to end, I'm doing something wrong. Like I don't want that. I got a job. I don't need a second one.
I find that I spend more time on thumbnails than I do recording videos half the time.
Yeah, and you got me paranoid about him for a little while too.
Your thumbnails are great. Like they stick out like a sore thumb, and I always see them.
Sore is the right word.
Sore works.
That's
Sore
kind
works.
of a good thing though. Like having all those like colors that kind of clash, it brings your eyes to that every time. So like it works.
Nothing like red on yellow, man. It works all the time.
Yeah.
Well,
are you making fun of my logo?
No, because I do Atari. My Atari VCS has the yellow bar and Atari VCS on top of it. And then Evercade's got the blue. And then I don't know what I use white for. I don't know. I can't remember. Whatever. I only do 3 things for content. I do Atari, Polymega, Evercade, and Amico. I used to do Amico. Don't do so much of it anymore.
That's more me.
That's Canadian 3. Come on. Everything's bigger up here.
What about you, Chad? You spend more time doing videos or gaming?
God, I've been neglecting my channel like you wouldn't believe. I haven't put hardly anything
Yeah,
out.
I've been subscribed to you for a while there, Chad. That's why I'm like, you look familiar when I come on. I'm like,
Yeah, I got angry at how bad Mario Golf was, and I did a video about that.
that's your last video.
I know.
I'm looking at it. You weren't that angry.
I wasn't angry. I mean, that's me angry. But no, I have a regular job, but then I also have a second job, and then with the kids and everything. And right now it's football season. My second job's TV production.
Oh,
so
sweet.
we went and did a college football game today. That's where I was all day. So, you know, I can't do a video in just an hour. I don't know why, but if you look at the video I did prior to that one, I think it was a Max Payne 3 review or something. I had this great idea in my head that I was going to put myself in bullet time shooting the game at the screen at the beginning of the video. So I had to set up a green screen and do all this other crap. I spent an hour throwing the game away from the camera so that I could reverse it to make it look like it was coming at. And so I like the creative side of trying to build a video or something, but maybe if I would just calm down and just get on here every now and then, that might be better. So I don't know. I got a better PC.
I don't want to watch that video now, Chad.
Which one? The
one with the bullet time.
The Max. It's kind of my interest. You don't even have to watch the whole thing. It's like in the first minute, and you'll be good. So
I'm just gonna pull it up now.
Right now.
We're just gonna have it
I'm watching it now. So if you guys see me, I need to see this now.
Yeah, I had to pretend like I was inside, behind the scenes here. I recorded the gameplay, and I knew what I was going to do. So I made my character crouch, and I put him in the corner so that I could like crop just the part where there wasn't anybody to make it look like I was in the club in the game. So
see if this pulls up. I don't know how glitchy it'll be pulling it up on screen.
It might
here.
be.
I know StreamYard sometimes has a hard time keeping up with YouTube videos when I play them.
They've upgraded a bit. They just got bought out, StreamYard.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just got bought out a couple months ago. Yeah, it's a new company owns them now.
Yeah, so I did that, and I acted like you can hear people shooting in the background, so I'm acting like they're coming for me. I don't know.
StreamYard saved my streaming life.
I just think it's fun to make videos, and that's one of the biggest problems I had as far as growing a channel is I just don't make them enough. I don't. One of these days, I'd like to do more. I got a better PC recently, so I can actually record gameplay better. One computer I have right now, it gets hung up sometimes if you try to do high quality.
What do you record in 4K or?
No, just 1080p. But I got an old MacBook, is what I'm using.
That's your problem.
Yeah, but I love editing on the Mac. There you go, bullet time, baby. Boom, here comes the game.
Awesome. That's awesome. I wish I was creative like that. Like me, it's just like when I get on there, it's just I like just sharing my first experiences with games and collecting. That's the whole goal for me. I'm not creative enough to do stuff like that. I wish I was.
If I had a lot more time, I would love to have a legitimate Twitch audience where I interact and play games with them. Like Dead Rising would be one of the games.
That's my retirement, dude. That's what I'm going to do in retirement. Just play and stream and video games and share laughters and talking with people. That's the perfect thing for me to do in retirement.
Will and I just started our first Let's Play series. We're not trying to creep into DotSlashFrag's territory or anything, but you know.
I don't think we have a copyright on the Let's Play market. I appreciate the concern.
You guys don't own Let's Play.
No, are you serious?
I'm
I
sure
guess
someone tried to say they did at one point.
I know,
Probably.
Yeah.
I know they tried to do React.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I remember that. Yep.
I've had people reach out to me since I stopped doing the countdown. Said, "Is it okay, Pete, if we call it the Amico Countdown?" I'm like, what? Yes, do it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Will has entered the chat.
Yeah, Will's slacking tonight. Why is Will not here?
I will.
Will doesn't have any children.
Oh.
I told him he could sit this one out. I'm sitting out next weekend, so
You can adopt him.
I don't know. Will's like, I don't have any experience being a dad, so like he felt like he could be out. And I was like, you're right. If you want to sit this one out, you're welcome to.
I'm constantly tired. That's my experience as a dad.
Yeah.
You're like rating the dad experience. 7 out of 10, tired all the time.
Sometimes I think it's not just being a dad and playing games, it's being older and playing games, because it doesn't matter whether you have kids or not. I'm actually I maybe even be the same age as Pete, and so it's just like, that's what I find hard, is like, it's not just dealing with the kids and stuff, but just the way the industry's changing. I have to let go of buying stuff. I don't like, for some reason, it doesn't bother me to have digital everything on a PC in Steam. I don't know why, but when I have it on my PS4, I'm just sitting there. Ugh.
Yeah, I know. I feel guilty. Like, why am I playing this digitally? It should be in my library. But yeah, Steam is I got New World, no problem putting $40 down on that.
I don't think twice about stuff on the computer for some stupid reason, but yeah, that's sort of way it was. But something before I forget, you were asking earlier, I think something like, what did we have an idea what we were going to do with our kids when they came around? Just because I see we're coming in on an hour, I don't know how long we're doing this for, but
I forgot what the question was.
I don't even know if you got to this question yet. I think you mentioned you were going to, so I don't know. But yeah, if you want me to go, I have a kind of an idea.
Well,
the
podcast doesn't have a set time limit, but basically the idea is we go from 9:30, and then usually I have a hard cut at like 11:30 at the latest. That is the latest I'm willing to go. We don't do any of those 4-hour podcasts like we used to do. Like when we had Talarico on and we were on till like 2 a.m. or whatever.
Tommy can talk all night.
So, anyways, no, there's no set limit. So whatever you want to jump into, I am game for it.
Well, you'd asked me earlier why my channel doesn't have Chad the Gaming Dad as its URL and it's like Dad's Games before, because when I originally did the channel, I was looking at my shelf of stuff and I was thinking, okay, my kids, they're really little now, they're babies, but sooner or later they're going to grow up and they're going to want to play all this stuff. It's amazing, right? Who's not going to want to play all this great collection I have? They're going to look at this wall and they're going to go, these are Dad's games, and I'm going to play Dad's games. So that's why I named it that, but then it was a crappy name, so I changed it, and it's still a crappy name, but at least it's unique. So, at least unique to me. If somebody else steals those exact same words, I got problems. But other than that, or unless they can do something more than if they put a video out more than every 2 months. So, so that was what my vision or envisioning or whatever was, that my kids were going to just want to play all the stuff that I played, like, hey, look, this was great. I loved this. So you're going to love it. And guess what? They don't. They don't love it. I try to get them to play Mario and stuff like that, like the original NES and everything. And my son just wants to play Minecraft and Fortnite.
Yep.
And that's it. And I would have never thought about, I didn't like Minecraft very much at all until they played it so much that then I kind of saw what was fun about it a little. So they've kind of showed me some things. I was able to get them into a couple games that they originally didn't like, but you kind of have to get to that point where what you thought was going to happen almost never is going to happen. You just have to roll with it and see where it takes you. I did get a couple of those arcade 1-ups. They like the old games on those because it's,
it's exciting.
Arcade.
It's a whole cabinet.
Yeah. So those are fun. But I kind of anymore, I like them showing me stuff that I otherwise wouldn't play. So it kind of turned around on me. I thought I was going to show them all this great stuff, and it turns out they're showing me stuff I wouldn't have paid attention to. But I still don't like Animal Crossing for anything. I can't play that My daughter finished it. She's got 100 and some hours in Animal Crossing. I can't play 10 minutes without wanting to just go to sleep. So
I played with my kids during the first couple of months of the pandemic. That came out during the pandemic, like right at start. We played a lot of Animal Crossing at start, just going to each other's island. I guess that was our escape from not going outside, was to be able to visit people in the island and stuff.
Virtual outside.
Yeah, exactly.
I have too much FOMO to play Animal Crossing. I want to buy everything, and it's like I end up just playing it too much. I'm like, I can't play this game.
You should never play an MMO. Never ever play an MMO.
That's because I literally I played WoW from basically like alpha until Wrath of the Lich King, and they just keep adding too much. They add like fucking Pokemon battles now. You know, it's like it's never ending. The amount of things you can do in WoW is crazy. So I just had to move on.
I have the opposite version of FOMO. I don't like buying things right when they come out. I like buying things when you can't get them anymore, and then managing to get everything anyways. So, like, for example, I got Infamous Second Son when the PS5 was already out, okay? And I was so angry when I found out you could get a specific jacket from the character, the legacy character Cole McGrath from the first two games on PS3. But only if you got the original pre-order with the foil DLC in it. So you had to buy a sealed copy, and that was how that was at. So then I found out after I bought this thing, I spent an extra like $30 I didn't need to spend just to get this extra DLC. And it does add to the story. There's a point to having the DLC. But I found out that the code was expired by like 2 years. So like you couldn't even use the code even if you bought it sealed. So then I found out the only way to get it was to create a second account, a European account, because they had the DLC available in the PlayStation Store, but American accounts don't.
All this for Infamous and
I love the Infamous series, okay? It's one of my favorite series on the PlayStation.
You're that guy.
I'm that guy. So when I finally got a PS4, I had forgotten Infamous had came to the PS4, and then I realized, oh no, I missed my chance. I ended up literally doing all those hoops just to get the Cole's Legacy DLC, just to see what in the world happened, because Infamous Second Son happens after the end of Infamous 2, where like the world that Infamous created essentially ends in one way or the other. And so like the continuation of the story doesn't make sense unless you have this DLC and it really explains it.
I didn't even realize there was DLC for it. I enjoyed that game.
It's the only DLC, and you can only get it from the pre-ordered copies in the US unless you live in Europe, and then you pay like $5 and you can get it.
I played a good bit of the first one. Wasn't the first one like a launch title for PS3 or near launch, like maybe a couple years into the PS3?
It was
PS4.
It was a rushed early title, not a launch title, because a different game that was supposed to launch with the PS4 didn't.
Yeah. Oh, so it was a PS4, yeah, not a PS. Yeah.
Infamous Second Son was.
Yeah.
The first two Infamous
I
were
thought the
PS3.
first one was.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
PS3.
I thought
The
you asked
first
about the
Infamous
PS4. I'm
was
so sorry.
PS3 near
Yes,
launch.
the first.
I think.
No, it was not near launch. Actually, the first Infamous game came out like 3 years after the PS3 launched, and then.
Well, that's near launch. The console was around for 15 years.
In the review of it, my favorite part about this, my favorite review I've ever heard on Infamous, the first Infamous, they're like, this is the best looking PS2 game on the PS3.
That hurts.
Because it does look more like the PS2 era style games. Like it looks good, game. But it looks like a PS2 game. Like if you just HD-ified one, you'd have
everything on the PS2 and Xbox was brown. Like browns and earth tones was the color palette of the day back then. Felt like all the games had that as their colors.
Unless you had one of those fancy schmancy TVs where you could up the contrast and saturation, then you could fake it till you make it. All right.
I missed that generation. I mean, I liked those.
Yeah, me too. Xbox. I love Xbox.
It's better than sepia tone, though. You know, sepia tone would be a weird way to play games.
Yeah.
Unless they're made to be that way. All right, next question for you guys. What game did you play as a kid that you would never want your own child to play?
BMX XXX.
I forgot you mentioned that before.
Since I grew up with the Atari, there is no answer. I would say Leisure Suit Larry, the first one coming out. I remember playing I don't know how I got this game, Custard's Revenge, on my 2600. That was I got it from my uncle's cabinet. So I had that. My kids can never play that game.
You don't want to go in that cabinet, man. That's a bad cabinet.
Hey, it was 1982, I think, or 83.
Didn't that game come in like a leather case? Wasn't that like in a leather case or something?
Padlock or something like that.
I'm nervous about Googling this thing now because the imagery that showed up last time I Googled this game.
But I'm just saying, like I grew up, like I was Atari was the first consoles games I played, so yeah, they could play any of those games. I mean, like the covers, I wouldn't let them see. They're kind of provocative, right? Some of the covers back then is like, really sexist in a lot of ways too, the way they're presented. So probably wouldn't want my daughter and my son seeing that. But otherwise, the games
especially at a younger age where they wouldn't be able to understand that the era was different and all that other stuff, right?
Yeah, we were like when I was 7, 8 years old, man. Like Dave, man,
that was pretty normal back then.
Well, R-rated movies was like in Canada, like R-rated movies is like kid can go see that at 17, right? So
yeah. There you go. What about you, Chad? Anything from the television that you wouldn't want your kids?
I don't think that I have any games on the Intellivision that
I was kind of joking because I know you have the Intellivision. You like
I do. I have that, but I have a ton of Atari stuff. See, I started with Intellivision because I didn't get an Atari. For some reason, the name sold it to my mom. She thought, well, Intellivision, that's not
sounds smart.
That's not just for some dumb kids playing games. So, we'll get him that. And I wanted.
Little did she know, she just gave you the better of the systems.
Yeah. Well, and my grandfather bought it or had paid for part of it because remember they were supposed to come out with a keyboard that
he thought it was going to be a computer. Basically.
He thought I was going to learn how to run a computer with it. So, and really, I just liked playing Bomb Squad. That one's good. Bomb Squad's good. I wouldn't want them to have to live through. If there's something I wouldn't want them to have to do, I wouldn't want to have them play sports games like I used to want to. When I was a little kid, I just wanted to play football. And you couldn't, there's no AI. So I would have to beg my dad, who doesn't like games at all, to play. And then when I'd get him to play, he would just kick my ass because I was little and I didn't know what I was doing. And so then here I am, 5-year-old Chad, not a dad, sitting there with both of the controllers in my hands playing against myself on football because that sucked. So, I mean, at least now they have some AI. And so I wouldn't want to have them have to suffer through that. But again, I've tried to get my kids to play Intellivision, and they think it's a joke. So, sorry,
it's not easy. Outside, like the Atari, those retro games aren't easy to just have hooked up and explain like a lot, especially in television and ColecoVision, right? Because if you don't have the little screen that goes over the pads, like the overlays, like there's so many buttons.
I still have all that because my mom taught me how to be really like anal about every little thing in the box. So that's I still have the overlays. But when my son was really little, I got him to get into playing it. I called it Atari Party when mom would have to go to work and stuff like that, and I hooked it up to the TV. And when you put an Atari, you can hook it up to a big screen and the pixels are like each like that big, like a one Pac-Man's dot is this legitimately that big on a screen. And if you put it through your system for sound, it's terrifying, but we would play that. That was pretty fun, when you hook up an actual 2600. But that he liked Combat. I was glad to play Combat with him. That was cool. But
Combat's a cool game.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, like I said before, I always thought it would be all this gaming stuff. But now that they're getting older, it's more real world stuff. So I know Pete, you said you play hockey. I played for a lot of years, and my son's learning to skate. We just put some gear on him, and I was out on the ice just trying to show him, and I passed the puck to him, and then it hit me in the head. I'm like, holy crap, I'm on my ice where I've played 1,000 games, and I just passed to him, and I'm like, I mean, that's gaming too to me, not just video gaming, but real world gaming. I like that too. So I don't know. That's where it works out. But anyway, your question was, I'm glad he can actually play games instead of having to play 2 controllers by himself. That sucked.
What about you, Zeo? Is there any games you wouldn't want your kids playing that you played?
Not when I was growing up. I grew up on the Super NES and the PlayStation. I got a Sega Master System back there, and they're all fine for them to play. In fact, they've played some of those games. My parents got a NES Mini, so I've watched one of my kids struggle to play Zelda 2.
Oh yeah.
I can't think. My brain fried after work today. But there's not really a whole lot. There's things I won't let them play, like Saints Row or GTA. That I won't let them play, of course.
Yeah.
But they play Fortnite, and one of them was trying to play WoW at one time, but of course I had to fix the HUD so the chat box and everything was gone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because immediately he messed up and wound up in a group that he shouldn't be in at level 5 with everyone at max level, and then trying to talk to them and tell them that he has no idea what he's doing and stuff. And I'm just looking at the replies like, yep, nope. We're fixing this. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Dude.
But
yeah.
When my son was 4, he played Sea of Thieves. And the chat was on, like the actual live chat, and I was just watching him play. And
Thank God he couldn't read, right? Or could he?
he kept getting on the wheel and trying to drive, and then when he got off, people would hop on it. So he would pull the anchor, and people were getting so upset at him. They voted him to go into the jail. And my son is like screaming. He's like, "Please let me out. If you let me out, I'll stop." He was like begging him, and I was just like dying laughing. It was so funny. There was one dude who was like actually nice. The other 2 dudes were losing their like mind. They're like, "Bro, you gotta stop." So they ended up sinking the boat with him in the jail, and he's like, "Please let me out." And then I was like, and I was like, "That is the last time I have voice chat on."
Yeah, that is the first thing I disable on every game they play.
Yeah. Mine is my credit card
setting.
That's the second thing after the voice chat. You realize, oh no,
your friends call each other on the phone. You guys can talk from there. You ain't using the voice chat.
I'll tell you, like for me,
Xbox
it's like,
Live 2007 was a different place than.
Yes,
oh my gosh,
yeah.
Well, my son is playing Forza. Like he wants sports cars all the time. He's playing Forza, right? So I downloaded on Game Pass. He's playing it. He's having a blast. He's like, all of a sudden, though, I walk by and I'm looking at him. It's like, he's got like 100 cars. And he's got 1,500,000 credits. And the alarm bell's going off. He's playing on my account. I'm like, how did he do this? I'm like, oh my God. I went and checked my accounts. I'm like, okay, no bills. And I talked to him and said, Alexander, how'd you get so many cars? Dude, brah, I'm playing the game. I'm level 54. I'm owning it. He's 9. And I looked over, and sure enough, level 54, he's got, like, he's ranking up some cred in there, and he's getting, and you know what he's doing? He's buying cars low on the auction and selling them high and making profits. So he's got every car he wants. He goes, I just bought a Bugatti, but I'm going to sell it for about another $100,000. And I'm like,
he's playing the system.
He's learning doing it good there.
He's like that. But me, it's not what I used to play. It's what I'm playing now. I can't let him see because like I played Halo 5 the other day because I'm going through all the Halo games before he come out. And my daughter walks in, just like drinking her milk, walks in. And she goes, I'm like, Emma, what's wrong? And I realized I was clubbing one of the Covenant to death with Master Chief. She go, what are you doing to the stuffy? The Covenant looked like a stuffy. You know the little ones? The little guys? Yeah. I forget what they're called. And I was just I wasn't shooting them. I was just whacking them with the rifle. So I'm like, yeah, you got to leave. Like, you can't watch that.
Here's a funny story about Halo. I never realized, like, it was something that slipped my mind the whole time I was playing Halo until Halo 4. And the only reason I realized it was because my wife was in the room as I was playing Halo 4, and she goes, what's up with the naked blue lady?
Oh, Cortana. She's not naked.
Yeah.
She's digital.
Like, what?
She's digital. Don't diss on Cortana.
So I was like, okay, well, I guess that kind of can't play that in front of my wife, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Cortana. Yeah, I don't know,
the right answer is you just look at her, you go, nothing. Clearly,
no, that's exactly what I did. I was like, what are you talking about?
She's like Mystique, right? Mystique from X-Men.
I didn't realize, it never occurred to me but the graphics got better in the Halo series, the more you could recognize what was going on.
Did you watch Avatar?
Yes.
Because the Navis are naked.
They are.
They are. And I realized that watching it with my son last Christmas. And I'm
Wait,
watching it, I'm
what?
like, and I've got a big TV with 4K, and I'm like, oh! And I'm like, we stopped watching it because there's certain parts of that where one of them moves a little bit, and there's a little bit too much being revealed in blue. So yeah, that ended that experiment with Avatar. I told him you can watch it when you're 30.
There was another game that I don't think I was supposed to play as a kid that I wouldn't let my kids play either. I think it was Dead to Rights on the GameCube.
Wait, you were a
Okay.
kid for the GameCube era? Ugh.
Kind of.
Dead to Rights, where you have
There
the
you
dog
are.
and you can tell the dog to go kill the bad guys.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
yeah.
a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. I
What's
don't
so
know.
bad
I don't
about
remember
that?
how old I was, but I know I wasn't supposed to be playing it when it was out. When it was out there, it was a
But
long
everything
time.
on the GameCube was E for everyone, right? That's what your parents thought, probably.
I had
No, my
BMX
parents. It wasn't. It was my
on the
friend's
GameCube.
parents had it. But yeah, I think it was Dead to Rights because I think there's actually a scene where there's like a pole and a woman involved, and when I saw that, I was like, "What? What is this? I've never seen this
Okay.
before."
Maybe I wouldn't let my kids play the original Duke Nukem or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Yeah, maybe not that either.
Yeah,
I
you
remember
guys.
playing that on
had
a
to-
computer, and the first thing I did in it was go to the bathroom to see if the toilets work. I still remember playing that in the 90s. I'm like, oh yeah, did the toilet work? Oh, sure enough, it all worked.
Yeah,
I
I
had to talk my
I
dad
totally
into getting-
didn't walk up and go, "Shake it, baby," with the money. I didn't.
Yeah.
Nobody did that.
No,
so.
nobody did.
I struggle with this because having parents that didn't know anything about gaming, I just had free reign to do whatever I wanted.
Mhm.
So I played so many games, and it's like, I don't know, like I played them all. I turned out all right. So it's like, I don't know. Would I rather?
but now you're like,
play,
I know too much.
Like, would I just rather play these games if he's interested in them with him, or would I rather him like go behind my back at some point and try to
Yeah.
play them? You know?
I think that's the
Yeah.
best approach. Like that's why I'm
Yeah.
watching movies with my son. Like trying to a lot of parents won't let their kids watch Jurassic Park. A lot of friends I know I work with won't let their kids watch Jurassic Park until they're like
Really?
16 or 17. And I'm like, sat down and watched Jurassic Park, and I told them there's some scenes coming up that's pretty brutal about a toilet and a guy getting bitten out, but it's all make believe. It's all fun. Cover your eyes and like we watched Free Guy the other day, and I said there's some swear words, but that's just the way it is. You don't just because people talk that way, you don't need to. And it's like, so that's how I appreciate like movies, games.
Yeah.
Certain games I just don't want them to like Doom. I don't want my kid to play that until he's a little older, until like maybe 12 or 13, so
I
he can
think-
understand.
I think there's like based on your own parenting, obviously make your own decisions. But I think for each parent, there's a certain point in time where like the next level for their kid is unlocked. Where like, okay, I can experience this with my kid now, and then when the kid gets older, like, okay, now I can experience this with my kid. But you don't want them doing it behind your back, so
Yeah.
you got to kind of weigh the
Yeah.
choice as to when to introduce these things to your kid, and that's kind of hard to do. You don't think about it when you're a kid doing these things. Like, oh, my parents don't know I'm playing Halo 3 or Halo 2 or Halo 1, whatever it is at the time. And it's like, they don't care, or Call of Duty, whatever it is. Whatever your parents don't want you playing that you're playing, you're like, oh, yeah, whatever. They don't know. It doesn't matter. But now that you're a parent, you're looking at it from the other side, like, okay, what's my kid trying to get away with?
Yeah. For me, it was in games because, like, I grew up in the 80s. The games were like pixels. Like, even the early 90s, they were just pixels. You weren't getting away. Movies is where I had that feeling as a kid. Watching a movie. Like, I can still remember watching, what movie was it? Oh, Porky's. Porky's is a famous movie in Canada. Anyway, I watched that, I think, when I was 7 or 8 or 9. I can't remember. But I did not want my parents to know that. A bunch of me and my cousins went and stole it from one of the cousins' father's movie collection. We put it in, we watched it. We're like, and I kind of felt gross after watching that movie as a kid. I still remember it's like I got away with it, but yuck.
Probably took that movie out of the same place you got Custer's Revenge.
Probably. We was the 80s, man. We didn't have cable. We didn't have
I remember
anything.
watching Revenge of the Nerds on cable, and my dad would go, "Oh," he'd cover my eyes,
Yeah.
but he'd go like this so I could peek through. So mom was aware that she's like, "What are you doing over there?" And he's, "Oh, I'm covering his eyes," and it was like this.
We used to we used to rent movies. My dad used to rent movies part-time. He was a teacher, but he used to rent movies to the entire town I grew up. So we always had a movie selection because every video store you have movies, and then you have the other movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
The back room.
So anybody came to get the other movies that he was renting, if the kids were in the house, he made us leave, quote and play. So we had to go all quote and play, and we see somebody we recognize go in, and that they leave with something in a bag. That's how. I remember when I got older, my dad told me about that. He goes, "Yeah, there were certain movies that we just didn't want you guys to know."
When I was in college, I worked at a rental store, and we would deliver movies. Okay?
Oh,
And so nothing's better than being the delivery guy at 2 a.m. and you're delivering a whole bag full of the ones from back behind the curtain to somebody. That was not good.
2 a.m.
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was thinking.
You're like knocking on the door going, here.
Gross.
And it's like a motel. And you're like,
Make sure you washed up before you give these back to me.
yeah. You don't have to return them. They're yours. Yeah.
Yeah. Just burn them, please.
That place isn't there anymore. It was a unique time back then in the early 90s, well, actually mid to late. But they had a video store that would deliver, and you'd never get tips. Like I got tips delivering pizzas, but they wouldn't tip you if you delivered a movie because it's not food.
I find the tipping culture back in the day was not quite where it's at today. I think service people get better tips now than they did in the 80s and the 90s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Probably depends on where you work, though, too.
Yeah.
So I thought of something else. You guys, we're talking about keeping your kids from playing stuff. Do you ever have arguments with kids, not because you don't think the game is, or you don't think that the game is for them? Like we're talking like you keep them away from bad games and stuff, like you're not trying to protect them, but that you think the game sucks and you get in a fight with your kid. You're like, no, you're not playing that game. That's terrible. I'm not letting you play that. They think it's great. I've gotten in so many Fortnite arguments with my son.
Yeah.
And every time, if I walk in the room and he's playing that and I see him on the store, I go, if you even so much as ask me for V-Bucks, buddy, it's getting deleted. That's it. You can play it, but V-Bucks do not happen in this house. I will not buy V-Bucks. So you guys ever have any problems with your kids if they're old enough to
Roblox?
Roblox?
My son's like Roblox and he wants Robux all the time, and I'm like, you don't like retro games, but you're playing this piece of poo? I mean, it looks like something on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
It literally looks like a PlayStation 4 64 game. Like Roblox is like,
yeah.
I'm like, I got tons of Lego games in the collection. Go play tons of Lego games. They're much better story than.
Yeah.
And he's out of Roblox. He's into Forza now. Probably burning up my credit card, but he's making money anyway, so that's good.
The only argument I've been in was the Cars 3 Driven to Win game. Mm-hmm. And it turns out my son was right. It was a good game.
It's an awesome game. I told you. It's fantastic.
I didn't buy it initially, but it kept showing up in like the recommended. So my son was watching all the Cars movies via our PlayStation 4. So like for some reason, Sony connects. You watch these movies, you want this game, huh? Mm-hmm. So eventually it shows up a bunch of times. My son's like, Daddy, it's only $20. Or he says, Daddy, it's only $20, because he didn't realize it was 20 at the time. And I was like, fine. And I even got another discount. It was 15 for some reason. And I opened it up. I was like, this is actually a pretty good game. So then my son and he had one of those McQueen steering wheels. He'd sit in my lap and I'd play that game with him. And we enjoyed the heck out of it. So
that game's awesome,
he wins that argument. But we did get in that argument for a while.
Yeah. My son wanted a monster truck, one of those Monster Jam game once. And I said, dude, that game is going to stink. It's not going to be any good. And then it was on sale for like $5 one day. So he kept asking for it. I let him play it. And I think I won him over because he played it for about a half hour. He's like, that's not very good. I said, I told you it wasn't going to be any good. It's terrible.
What about you, Alex or Zeo? Any of those types of arguments with your kids?
Roblox and Fortnite.
Yeah, mine was Robux. I let mine play Fortnite, and he finally got V-Bucks for the first time recently because it was his birthday, and somebody else bought them for him. So, yeah, it is what it is at that point. But I will not pay for anything with Roblox. Forget that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I told my son, if you play Fortnite, you can beat the game, you can win, you can victory royale without any skins. And he has won it a bunch of times. I can't win it. I played duos with him once. It's the only time I ever had a victory in that thing. Maybe I don't like the game because I'm bad at it. That could be possibly, but yeah, he hasn't asked. I'm trying to use it as like a learning tool. I'm like, what they're trying to do is trick you. They're going to put you into a game with everybody who already has the skin to make you think you need the skin. I'm going down that whole road with him. I feel like I'm, doing one of those videos where you're just railing against the companies, like.
Speaking of, just speaking of Fortnite, got my kid recently, pretty good. So apparently there's a common thing as he's been growing up. He'll see me play something like Final Fantasy 14 where my character's a female. And he always asks me, why do you play girl characters? And I never really have a good answer for it other than either it's by default or it's Final Fantasy 14 and they look cute in their stuff and I like it. Well, he's been playing Fortnite and he's been playing the same default skin forever until recently when he got those Roblox. And now he's got a female skin, so I came up behind him and was like, so why are you playing a girl character? He jumped to the thing and was like, what? It's the skin it gives you. It's like, okay, fine, whatever.
Actually, I never used to play girl characters until my daughter. Now every time I'm playing a game where you create a character, I create a girl character because my daughter comes in and goes, is there girl heroes? Is there girl heroes? So I just default now, play a girl character, get my little girl and say, hey, look at Daddy's character. It's a girl.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, she's so pretty. And I'm like, she's not. She's like a mean warrior.
Yeah.
Fair
I
enough.
think games like Roblox and Fortnite should do better parental controls where you can just disable the shop, because it is quite annoying where they'll go in there and they'll either try to buy it or they'll nag you to buy something that's new or limited. And it's that should kind of be on my terms, it shouldn't be every single time they log in the game they're berated by it. And it's especially terrible in Roblox because when you walk around, Roblox has a bunch of content creators or developers that make their games. So they put all these little circles on the ground. And if you walk over the circle, it's like, do you want to spend 400 Robux right now to buy this one item? And it's as you're just walking around playing the game, there's these pop-ups everywhere. And my son understands what they are, but my daughter doesn't understand. And it's just really weird in between. It's dude, just let me disable in-game stuff until I'm ready to buy something. But
yeah,
I can't imagine games when we were growing up having that built in. Imagine you were playing the original Mass Effect, and you walk over steps oh, you want to spend $5 to get this extra skin for Shepard? It's wait, what?
Yeah, if they would have had something that sped up that elevator, I would have bought it in a heartbeat.
They do. It's the Legendary Edition.
Yeah. Good times.
That was pretty cool. The first time I ever did that, I was like, oh, man. But then I realized you miss all of those audio recordings that go on if you do that. Or those random conversations they have on the elevator. I actually realized some of the elevator announcements turned into quests in Mass Effect. So that was kind of worthwhile, other than sitting there for a minute and a half while it loaded.
I should probably play that since I bought it and I played the first hour.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't like it because it's you can just stop it in the middle of playing or whatever. You can pause it, go to your menu. At least when I played the first Mass Effect, that's why I quit playing. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of turn-based games. I'd rather just play real time and you shoot stuff and you die.
The Mass Effect game, well, you can pause, but to select different guns and stuff, but it still takes time to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, you could be in the middle of a fight and you're hold on, let me pause the game and start strategizing and changing all my equipment. To me, that's just, I don't enjoy that personally. I'd rather just...
All right, real quick before we keep going on. Everybody, say goodbye to OEB Pete. Thank you for being here. Get those...
Oh, you're welcome. I wish I could have stayed, but I got to go and...
No, you're good. We're not going to be more than
ready to
an hour anyways.
Bathe and stuff like that, but it was awesome. And anytime, man, you guys do this again, I'll come back.
Always a joy to hang out with you,
Nice
Pete.
chatting.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys. I'm supporting all your channels. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see what video. I'm going to go watch the Max Payne one and maybe the Mario one again.
And before you update your PS4, you might want to check out some of my PS4 notifications.
Yes, Chris, I will go watch your videos.
Yeah.
Of course I will, dude. It's on my list to watch because I saw your thumbnail came up in my recommendations, so I'm going to go watch it before I update. I think I should update anyway,
which
right?
is nice. You will have to update to get the PSN, but you might want to just only update the ones you use regularly and then update the other ones after Sony figures out their stuff with the updates.
My biggest fear is that they all of a sudden revert that decision and I'm left with bricked PS4s 10 years from now. That's my biggest fear.
The CMOS battery?
Yeah.
But the
Hopefully
CMOS
they'll
battery
improve.
thing isn't the issue, but watch the videos. You'll know what I'm
Okay.
talking about.
All right, cool. Good night, everybody. Thanks
All
for
right,
having
later,
me.
Pete.
Appreciate
Good
it.
night.
Bye.
Take care, bud.
Night.
All right. So we only got about a half hour left here at most, if not less. If you guys want to cut this earlier, it's fine too.
Mhm.
But what kind of things do you guys want to discuss as gaming dads that I haven't already hit on?
So
Actually, Will had
Sorry.
one real quick. Will always jumps in with this question every time we've had people on that are dads, and we can cover it in a minute here. But usually it's, and think on this one because I'm gonna let Alex ask his question first. But think on this one at the same time. What game do you want your kids to be into that they might not be into? And we'll jump into that in a second. Alex, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say having a 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, and kind of that whole like them playing games behind your back. How do you guys deal with having, let's just say, like your older child has been upgraded to that next level? They're playing those games that are suitable for them, but then the 6-year-old isn't in that level. Like, how do you stop them from crossing over? Because my kids sit next to each other in my office and play games, and for instance, like Roblox, and my older son doesn't realize, like his sister is younger than him, and they just play the same games. So it's like this really weird situation where, like, how do you divide them from those two levels of playing games that aren't suitable for them, if that makes sense?
Portables.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be totally honest, I'll probably wind up upgrading my two oldest at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens, just due to the fact that my middle child is probably going to be the one who actually does the upgrading, because my oldest is just into those simulations.
True.
But so I shouldn't really have a big problem with it. But my youngest watches me play Doom. So, and he loves Jurassic Park, loves those movies and things like that. So I probably wouldn't have a problem with having them upgrading at the same time when it comes down to it. Unless it's just something really, really, really atrocious that, is adult only or something. And I probably wouldn't let him watch that then. But
Alex is like, when they turn 18, BMX XXX finally passes down.
when he turns 18 and be like, you can take it to your room, to your TV that I'm sure you will totally have by that point, and lock your door, and your younger brothers can't come in there.
Be like, here's my family copy of the Guy game for you. The Guy.
Like,
Yeah.
Just
You know what the Guy game
open up
is,
a
right?
chest that you've had in the back of your closet. It's got like Leisure Suit Larry, the Guy game, and everything. It's like, you're now 18, son. Here's the thing. Enjoy. Don't be too loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess like a real world example is, things like Bendy or Hello
Yeah, there's some
Neighbor.
darker games like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. My middle child
like-
loves Bendy. He is obsessed
I
with
know.
Bendy.
And
Yeah.
I mean, like, personally, like, I don't mind my children playing some of the, like, the more adult-ish games, like, where there's, like, killing involved if it's cartoonish. So, like, I don't have a ton of issues with it, but, like, I'll be seeing them play, like, a Roblox game, which I'm like, it's kind of questionable. And you're like, why are you playing that with your younger sister, So,
I
I
got
don't
you
know.
on that
Roblox
one.
is like a cesspool. There's, like, no way to stop unless you're literally standing there watching them play. There's no way to like do parental guidance on it, at least from my experience. So
See, the weirdest thing I've ever come in, and my boys are 4 and 2, and they're a year and a half apart. So like most likely they'll go up whatever one is watching, the other one will watch at the same time. They'll be doing the same stuff, and they pretty much do everything together anyways. It's like I would probably just wait until they were both ready to get them to that next level. But in regards to that, we handed them the iPad to watch something one time, and like the amount of apps my child was able to download in the amount of time that we weren't paying attention was insane.
Yeah.
That and YouTube videos. I mean, they'll start off with one that we are okay with, and the recommendations will send it. And I keep calling it like the Yo Dudes, because I'll hear it from the other room. I'm like, Benny, you can't listen to Yo Dudes. The guys that are like, whoa, dude, constantly when they're playing, and that's the whole video. I was like, if I hear whoa dudes out of you, you're done. We're done with that. He gets, he plays more games than my daughter does. She's a little older and in middle school now, and softball and a bunch of other stuff she's doing. She doesn't play too many games, but he likes them a lot. We don't really ban hardly any games except for the harder core like GTA with all the language and everything like that. But we do kind of watch what he says. So if he's playing Fortnite or something, he can play it. But if he starts going, I'm killing that guy, I'm like, you're getting a little too. Yeah, I said, I don't care what you think, but if somebody else hears you running around saying I'm killing everybody, that's not good, buddy. I said, just say you eliminated him from the game or something boring like that. But
I beat him, right?
Yeah, I beat him. I won that one, something like that. So we kind of try to parent him from what's coming out of him. And if we see him getting a little too excited, I said he's going to be 8 next week, we'll just say it's time for a break, dude. Just give me the Switch, turn it off for a while, go outside, ride your bike, do something else.
Yeah, even with TV, sometimes my sons will get like that. You see, they're kind of getting anxious or like they're jittery. All right, buddy, time to go outside. No more of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, my middle child suffers from that sometimes, especially when he can't beat it or finish the level or something. Starts to get all upset and starts doing that and whatever it is that they do when they get really upset. And it's like, no, you're going to turn it off, give it a break, come back to it some other time, go outside and play or something. Because I'm not going to have you throwing controllers into my wall. I've seen those people do that. I'm not having holes in my wall over it.
Well, and my son almost always plays the Switch. So if it's a controller, it's the whole stinking thing. So you can, it's fun. You can stand back and watch it visually like happen when you see him just start to get all like, because he's getting close and then someone shoots him at the end or something. Yeah. When it's break time, it's pretty obvious.
But other than that, I guess I just pretty much have like a hard no on something like GTA and Saints Row. Something with a lot of language more than anything.
Yeah.
So
I'm mostly preparing myself mentally for my youngest. He's a year and a half. So there's like a 7-year gap, right? So, when he's 8 or whatever, my other son's going to be up there like 15-ish, playing those things. And it's like, I don't know. Got to figure out a way to keep him like, maybe when he's 15, it's okay to play GTA, but then my other son will be 7 or 6 or 7 or 8. It's not okay for him. So we'll see, I guess.
Yeah. Then you got to decide, do you do like everybody's the same across the board? So the older kids aren't playing what the younger kids can't, or do you separate them by tiers somehow?
Yeah. Guess we'll have to figure out when we get there.
Yeah. My kids are only 3.5 years apart, and my son already plays more stuff than she does, so I don't think we're going to have a problem with that separating stuff. So
mine are 3 and 4 apart, so I think when one upgrades to the GTA style stuff, it will be you now have your own TV. Yeah, I know you guys lost your TV, but you can use the living rooms.
Yep.
I don't know if I'll ever really like watching my kids play GTA, even though I think it's fun. And I've played all of them, but it's just like, no matter how old they get, they're still your little kid. And you're like, oh man, and you're getting into some pretty rough stuff in life there. I don't know if I'd ever really like them playing it, but yeah, once they get old enough, they do what they're going to do. So
yeah. And I would rather know about it because I know I snuck GTA 3 into the house and locked my door and turned it on at midnight when everyone was asleep. I would rather know that they're playing it than not know,
Yeah, I'd always rather know. Absolutely.
The game I tried playing with my son that was probably a mistake was Twisted Metal. That was a mistake. I handed him the clown car and I was like, all right, here's your controller. And he's like just ramming walls with this clown car. Like doesn't even know how to play really. And I was like, oh, this is so much fun. And I realized, no, it's not very much fun at all. You're like 3, you don't know what you're even doing. Why am I playing? And then of course, ultimate revenge was he woke up in the middle of the night having dreams about clown cars. And then I had to deal with that. So
we had to deal with that with The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah. You find out real quick what actually scared your kids, even if they weren't scared during the day, right?
Yep. He had zombie dreams for a while. And it's like, all right, you're no longer seeing The Walking Dead. I mean, granted, you probably shouldn't have beforehand, but we had no idea what to do with you at the time, and it was on. So, but since then, he doesn't have that problem that much anymore. He's obsessed with horror films now. Apparently, he watches them with his mom when I'm out. So,
yeah, my wife loves scary movies too, and she tries to get the kids to watch them. And my daughter wimps out almost immediately, and then my son will try for a while, and then he'll start. You can see his face; he's just like, it starts getting sad, and then you're like, "All right, yeah, you're getting scared, right?" And he doesn't want to tell you, but you see that
Right.
bottom lip start going, and then it's time to turn it off. So, what was
All
your
right.
original question, Chris? You said you had
Here
another.
it is. Yep.
Okay.
Here it is. Here's the next question, and this might be the closer.
All right.
What game from your library of games that you enjoyed do you want your kids to enjoy, but you're worried they won't enjoy it?
I know exactly. And it's not just one.
Is it the whole Yakuza series?
It's the whole Yakuza series, yes. No, actually, my son thinks Yakuza is cool because he wants to use you go into the arcades and he likes the claw game. There's a UFO catcher, claw game in the actual arcades in the game, and he just wants to win all the prizes out of there. But anyway, the thing that I wish, and it's kind of, I don't know, I hope it's not a cop-out, but it's not a specific game. I wish they would play games that had a beginning and an end.
Yeah.
Like we did, because all they play is stuff that's the do it again, repeat. The Fortnites and stuff like that. And even Minecraft, I mean,
there's not really an end to that either.
They just keep starting. I mean, we've got hundreds of worlds. I have to delete things sometimes because it just clogs up whatever system they're playing on. Because every time they turn it on, they start a new one. I just wish they would actually play through. I tried to get him into playing Zelda or Mario or anything like that, and that's the most fun I've ever had playing a game is when I got really sucked in and I made it all the way through, because I don't beat a lot of my games. I play them and I always have the intention of beating them, but I just don't get around to it. But the ones that I did make it to the end, those are the ones I remember the most, like Yakuza. And they just don't play those. They just play these. It's almost like they're, I don't know. I see it as like the bad side of the video game industry, where they just want to rope people in and just it's almost like slot machines. Keep putting a quarter in, just keep going, do it again, pull a lever, do it again.
Only 5 minutes here, only 20 minutes there, only 30 minutes here, and you never progress. You just continuously make new games or new game modes, or you play it whatever the flavor of the week is. Yeah,
my daughter played 100 hours of Animal Crossing, but again, that was just because she was having fun decorating and growing trees or whatever you do and all that. But I just wish that one of these days my kids would come up and go, "Oh, you've got to play this game. You see, it's a great story. It starts off like this, then you have to beat this boss, and then this thing happens, and at the end," I've never heard that out of them. So that's
like the difference between reading a never-ending comic book series and reading a book start to finish, right? Like you can have both, but you'd like the kids to at least read a couple books that have an end.
Yeah. I mean, I know my original games I started with Atari and everything, they didn't have much for story or anything, but my favorite games were in that generation of like the Xbox and GameCube and stuff, because they couldn't really sell you anything extra yet. And so it was a whole game. And man, I hope one of these days they play some of those, because I think they're missing out if they don't play through stuff like that. Tried to get them to play Mario Odyssey, even stuff like they just won't. It's just not fast paced enough, I guess, for their generation. So there's my answer.
There you go.
So just to talk about that, in general, I'm just so tired of games as a service, but that's my opinion. Like, I play so many games that are already games as a service, and they always have this FOMO battle pass that you have to play, and you have to level the battle pass up, or else you're going to miss some limited time thing. It's exhausting being a parent. And like, I play Destiny pretty frequently. Destiny is pretty easy to level the battle pass, but then it's like, I like to play Rocket League. I play Fortnite with my son, and now Halo is coming out. All of them have battle passes, and it's just like, it's just so exhausting. Just give me the content and let me play the game. I'm over it.
It's like you're signing up for another job every time you get a game, because you have to just keep up with it.
Yeah. Luckily, the Halo one you'll be able to do whenever you want. So hopefully people take a note and follow that path because the current model of battle passes I think suck, and we'll see.
They going to have a story for Halo, or is it just going to
Yeah,
be
there's two. No, it's two pieces. There's the
Okay.
multiplayer piece, and then there's the campaign piece. And the campaign piece is what you buy on the disc. The multiplayer piece is the online version that you can do stuff with. So
cool,
free to play and game as a service.
Yep. But it's two separate pieces of the same package, essentially.
The whole thing is going to be on Game Pass, though, right?
I believe
Yes.
so.
Both pieces.
Well,
Yep.
They were advertising the multiplayer when I loaded it up just a few minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were both supposed to be on there, but I had only saw where it said
Multiplayer is
Halo
in beta.
Infinite multiplayer.
Multiplayer is on it. They're on their third tech preview this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So
So
that might be
that-
why
that's
it
what
popped
it
up
is.
then.
It doesn't actually release until what, like December or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a couple days after my birthday or something.
Okay.
December 8th.
Yeah, literally a
Uh,
couple days after my birthday.
So I'll
it was,
answer the question.
December 8th, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think there's any game that my children wouldn't like that I could recommend them. Like we've played Halo, they enjoyed it. We played Mario, we played Zelda, they like them all. But I think that I'm in the very much same boat as you. Like if I'm not being proactive playing those games with them, they're playing Fortnite or Roblox. And it's like it's never ending. But I think part of that is like maybe it's this culture that we've created in our house where like they get like an hour or two of screen time. So like they can sit down and play that for an hour or two and feel like they've, played and, expended their time, where maybe if they're playing like a long story game, it'd take like weeks to finish if they only played for an hour or two. But I don't know. It's like easy to pick those games up, jump in and jump out for them, I think. So that might be why they like it.
Yeah.
But I hate them.
It is tough
Yeah,
to
the
peel
game's
away
not
from
for
a good
kids.
one. Yeah, if you got a good story game going, you can't just go an hour because you're just getting started,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it'd be the Final Fantasy series.
Mhm.
If I could get them to play Final Fantasy, but then they're going to have to read. I don't know if they're going to do it. The older ones, anyway. I think the newer ones are all voice acted after 10. But then again, they're also more interested in Fortnite or Minecraft or something. They can just pop in, do things, pop out, and I hate games as a service as well. So,
The older generation bucking the new generation of gamers, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure Sony and Microsoft are ready to get rid of us because we're not
No, they love
whales or
me.
whatever.
They love me. I pay for Game Pass and I never use it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's great that, a game like Destiny's been around for 7 or 8 years and it's still going on the same install. But if you load up Destiny today for the first time, you never played the game. It's so it's so fragmented. It's nothing like when it started. I mean, there wasn't a great story to begin with, but they've removed content and they've added content. So it's like you can't experience it in this like fluid way that was like maybe their intention at first.
Mhm.
And I really hope Halo doesn't go that route. I hope Halo you can always play it and you can play it from start to finish and always have this playable thing. But it's like WoW, right? They released WoW Classic because people wanted to re-experience, the original leveling and the stuff that has changed.
I mean, if they hadn't messed up WoW as it is,
exactly.
I could go
So
on for days about how screwed up World of Warcraft is.
So I think in regards to the Halo question, just to answer that, since I know a decent amount about the Halo setup, I think them actually separating the multiplayer from the campaign was smart, because you shouldn't end up with that fragmented population if you do it that way, because the multiplayer can be the ever-changing thing. And then the campaign, anything you would add to the campaign could just be extra pieces, as opposed to taking something away to make a continuous story.
that's how Destiny started. And then it hit the gigabyte limit and they started removing stuff because they can no longer fit on consoles. So we'll see, I guess.
Ooh.
Yeah. They created a vault. And they vault things and they bring them back occasionally.
Oh, jeez.
What is this, Disney?
Yeah.
They're bringing it out of the vault like the Little Mermaid or something?
I love Destiny to the end of time. I'm a very big Bungie fan. I love Halo. But it is in a very weird state. And if you haven't played it since it came out, it's no point in playing it. It's just such a weird state right now. So
Yeah, I got into Destiny when the Taken King came out, and then I
Yeah.
got out of Destiny real quick after that.
yeah, but like I appreciate that a game can live that long. I just wish that there was a better way to do it in a way that you could still, just experience the stuff that happened and just go play the new thing. So
Well,
I hope Halo can steer the ship for that, maybe.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Well, it's like what Pete was saying right before he left is that he's getting ready for the new Halo, so he went back and he's playing through all of them. That's fun. That's cool.
Yep.
I miss the old days on the original Xbox playing like Halo 2 multiplayer, but you can still go back and play through the games and that's fun. I don't know. That's fun too.
And everything is there. Yeah.
Yeah. I got this newer PC. All I'm doing is playing old games on it. So
Yeah.
don't know why I needed one with good hardware, but it's just playing old stuff. Hey, DOSBox works real good on it. So,
Hey, here's something I want to bring up. As a dad who has young kids, like I'm worried that the all digital future will end up kicking off some of the games I still own. Like, thankfully, Xbox carries them forward. But imagine, like, I have Left 4 Dead and with all the DLC on the Xbox. I bought it on the 360, which means I got to carry it forward to the Xbox One. And technically speaking, it should go to the Xbox Series X if I get one of those, right? But let's just say my kids, when they get old enough to play Left 4 Dead, want to play with me, and I go to try to load it up, and it's like, oh, this is no longer a title that Valve allows Microsoft to carry forward or something along those lines, right? Like, that is the most terrifying thing to me in regards to the legacy of gaming.
I mean, as long as the game has an offline mode, I think we're going to be okay in terms of being able to technically play it.
Yeah.
You might not be able to play it on your version you bought, but like games that require online all the time, those games will be certainly screwed whenever the servers go offline.
Which is why I stay away from a lot of those games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but like
I'm
playing Wind Waker from Wii U on my computer. Smile. I bought it though. I have it on the Wii U, guys. It's not.
I've got it on the Wii U.
So it's like I can play that on my PC right now. I do have like a higher end graphics card. I don't think it takes that high end of a graphics card, but I can see a future where like you can play Xbox games, just on your computer.
Well, the reason why there isn't as much Xbox development in that aspect on PC is just because Xbox has allowed people to carry their games forward for almost every generation.
There's not a need, so why waste the time?
But if there ever is a need, emulation will come through and do what it does best. So,
yeah.
I just worry that the whole generation of 2D games that I grew up with, like your NES, SNES era, will be completely unplayable to my children when they're old enough to play them and understand them.
Well, they probably will be unless Nintendo decides to resell it to them for $20.
Because like even I look at the Switch and the essentially their emulation station, their NES, SNES library of games, and now I see them bringing the N64, and like people our age are happy to see the N64 come in there, but how many people are going to pick up the 3-pronged Bluetooth controller and play it that way? Like, probably not many people. I mean, we will.
But no.
I mean, I hooked up the N64 at my parents' over the last holiday season and got my kids to play GoldenEye. That was real fun.
That was fun.
Granted, every controller I think didn't work properly, so
So you got the real N64 experience.
You got the real experience going on there. But when it comes down to it, it's gonna be all emulation at that point. We'll probably be using emulators to do it, and
I'm buying the N64 Bluetooth controller for sure.
Because Nintendo only brings a few of them over, and it's always their biggest hits. So if you want something
F-Zero X,
more obscure,
this is the first time they're acknowledging F-Zero X since they put it on the eShop for the Wii U. So I'm excited for that.
But
that's
you also
I'm
have
at.
to
Like,
pay
I'm
more
worried
for it, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to cost.
Only get an expansion pack.
I'm sure it'll be like $5 or $10 or something.
It's $20 a year, bro. Like, it's not that much.
That's what I keep telling people. It's like until they hit 60 per year, like they're not even in the same league as Xbox Live was when that was a thing. Now it's just Game Pass essentially. But my biggest worry is my kids will not be willing to pick up old controllers and play the games that I enjoyed, just because of the barrier to entry being the controller. Like I've seen kids that are like 10. They see an SNES controller and they're like, nope. I'm like, what do you mean nope? It's like, there's no analog stick, or it's not a mouse and keyboard. It's like, what?
Yeah.
That was never an issue.
If I can get a better controller, I usually like a better controller, but there is something to be said for the original, but I mean, I play my Atari 2600 with Sega Genesis controllers. I can't
Well, that's
use,
fine. Yeah, it's whatever.
you know, but I never loved the N64 controller. So if you can use a regular Switch controller for those games, I'll probably do it
You
that
should.
way.
Yeah.
Well, the Retro Fighters controller brings something interesting to the table too. Like if you have an N64 and you go and buy the $25 Retro Fighters controller, it essentially brings like an Xbox controller experience to the N64 via the original hardware. So there is some argument to be made that if you didn't like the N64 controller, you're probably not the only person out there that feels that way.
GoldenEye let you do 2 controllers like a. Did you ever see that?
Yeah. You could do this. You could do the co-op.
I did a
mode.
video. I did a video on it. It's like, because I only do like a couple a year. It seems like just go back 2 videos. You'll see my GoldenEye one, and you actually can plug 2 controllers in, and there's a setting in there, and you can make it like Halo. With
Really.
2. You have to take player 1 and player 2 and switch them, because that's how the sticks are on a like a. Microsoft
I did not even know that was a thing.
So much more fun to play GoldenEye that way. I don't mind that, but
I had no idea that was possible.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
I explain it on the video. You can see Alex says he's heard of it before.
I'm watching it right now, and this is the craziest thing ever, because I used to do this with my siblings, but we would both just have our own controller, and I thought that's what you're supposed to do. Like one person walks, and the other person aims and shoots.
You could do it
That's
with
hilarious.
You could do it with Perfect Dark also, but not the other EA made James Bond games. It was just the Rare ones.
Huh.
Ahead of their time, bro.
Yeah.
Rare was always like on top of it back then.
They were ahead of their time, except they put the sticks on the wrong sides. So that's my genius moment in the videos. I was like, well, I want this stick over here and this one over here, and I look at the camera and I go, switch hands. Now you're good. Like you have 2 hands. Put player 2 in this one and player 1 in that one. So
there you go. Problem solved.
Yeah.
All right.
So
any last thoughts on gaming as a dad? I mean, I think we've covered pretty much everything I could think of tonight.
It's definitely different, but it's cool. And it's got its own perks and ups and downs. And like I said, the best thing I can think of is just that they show me stuff that I would have never otherwise played. I'll try to show them some things, but it's kind of nice when your kid teaches you something. You get to that age, once your kids are old enough, you'll hit it and you go, they just taught me something. Now I'm not the parent, they're the teacher. It's cool. So I like
Switch sale.
I mean, there's nothing better than seeing like the excitement and enjoying them, like when they're winning or beating a game.
Oh yeah.
Especially like me and my son played some Roblox game. It was like Axe Thrower or whatever, and we both discovered like a glitch where you could like exploit basically. And he was like losing his mind. He was like, "But we could do all these different things, and we could get this much money in the game and do that and get to this level," and like all these like lines connecting. And it was just like being able to experience that with him. I was like, okay. I was like, I don't hate Roblox as much as I think I do, but it still sucks. So.
Yeah, I don't love Fortnite, but I would play it now occasionally with him, and there is fun to be had.
Dude, maybe we just got to get a dad session of Fortnite going and just show the kids how to play.
I get my ass kicked every time, man. I'm not.
Hey, it was fun breaking out the
Kinect.
It was fun breaking out the Kinect and actually using it with my kids, and just watching my son hitting the fruits in the Fruit Ninja Kinect game was just like you could see in his eyes just the joy of just slicing that fruit. And he was getting so excited when him and I were playing as a team together and we were breaking our high score every time. Like that was so much fun. Like I almost didn't want to put the game down, and I am not a Fruit Ninja fan. So
yeah. I mean, my daughter, I downloaded Mario Kart on my phone. And I was like, I'll play it one day. She picked it up yesterday and started playing it. And she's like, Daddy, I'm winning. And she got like first in 3 games versus people online. I'm like, you're 6. How are you winning in Mario Kart on the phone of all things? But she was like so excited about it. So I'm like, I just love, seeing that in them because, I grew up playing games. So it's good to see that, pass on something.
Yeah.
Hey, it sounds like if we want to play with Jiznu, if he wants to play some Fortnite with us in the future. So there we go. If we get that dad's gaming session going, he's down.
There we go.
All right.
All right, Zeo, what about you? Closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts. Yeah, it's definitely been a trip. Not gaming for years, then gaming when they get older, watching them, practice and try and ask me to beat the thing for them, and then telling them, no, you keep trying. Practice makes perfect. And then seeing their joy the second they finally overcome that obstacle. It's a lot of fun, especially watching, my kids beat their very first game by themselves without me doing it for them. It was a lot of fun and great to watch. So really enjoyed it. And he was very happy too, of course.
He'll never stop playing once you got him to do that, because that's how we all got hooked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's that joy of overcoming that first obstacle that keeps you coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And then the not so much joy of not breaking the obstacle the first time you hit it that keeps you antagonized by the game until you finally get through it. But yeah, it's the same thing as just two sides of the same coin. I just want to thank you guys for all coming on here with me. It's been a blast discussing being a dad and gaming, because there's very few podcasts that I've gotten to have with just all dads chatting about this kind of stuff. So appreciate you guys being here. And anybody that's actually still watching this, make sure you guys subscribe to Chad and Zeo and DotSlashFrag, especially if you like the type of content they put out. DotSlashFrag is mostly a Let's Play channel. Zeo does a lot of news and nerd news. That's what he said, nerd news. And then
news.
You can subscribe to Chad whether you like his content or not, because he puts it out so infrequently at this point.
Yeah, if you don't like my content, subscribing to me is a great idea, because I hardly ever put it out. So
I do like his content. When I actually notice he had to put a new video out, I usually watch it. So
I'll do more as soon as we get into like November and stuff. Once my second job slows down, we got so many football games to do. So
speaking of Duke Nukem earlier, this is a very Duke Nukem looking profile picture.
Yeah,
so love that. Thank you for watching, man. Appreciate you being here, and we will see you guys all in the next one. Unless there's anything else you guys want to say, quick round table, anything going once. Twice.
Hey, thank you for having me. That's all.
Oh, Chad, you're always welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It was a lot of fun.
Good talking to you
enjoyed
guys,
it.
and good talking to Pete, even though he's not here.
Yeah.
He'll watch it later. Thanks, Pete. So,
he's like,
get your coffee, people.
Big brother Pete's watching. Got to make sure we say bye to Pete. No, no, it was fun having Pete. I make sure you subscribe to Pete too. I should have said that as well. But yeah, it's a blast, and we'll have you guys on again in the future. Maybe we'll do an update when everybody's kids are a year older and see where we're at.
Could bring some of them on. That would be really crazy, huh?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, actually, my oldest would love that. He keeps asking all the time, "Wait, when can I do something?" It's like, yeah, no.
That's almost
You
worse.
don't need to be on YouTube.
Yeah. I don't need them getting hooked on YouTube yet.
It's bad enough I'm on YouTube.
Yeah.
You don't need to make a YouTube and do this.
I mean, I know I suggested it, but I still don't really want them on. So they're still kind of little. But hey,
oh my gosh,
we could let them. I always tell mine. I did videos with my kids when they were little, and I said, no camera. You can just talk. That's it. So yeah, maybe they could just do an audio one.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks again.
Really appreciate you guys coming on, and we're gonna close it out here. So as always, I'm Chris from the CHRILLCAST, and we'll see you guys next weekend. But I'll see you guys after that at some point, and we'll see you guys in the next one. So bye, guys.